And we'll see who's going to be able to take it out. Is it going to be the Pollo Silencier in Pacomike, or is it going to be El Condor Winter Soldier Ryu?
Oh, exactly.
And Winter Condor.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you were talking about it earlier, and I'm happy as well that we've had a lot of ZVZs. We do not have a mirror matchup finals. Pacomike was able to stop that from happening, and we are going to be getting into a ZvP.
For the first time, oh wait, it's not the first time.
For the second time today, so we were able to see Pacomike take out Jim Rising. We'll see if he's able to do so against Ryu. Again, Ryu, he does have a very different style of play. I love the way he handles Glaive Adepts. Hopefully we'll be able to see it here on Death Aura or on one of these other maps, because he has a unique style that looks really impressive that I want to imitate, but I can never do. It's interesting, he actually goes for walls instead. So like if a shade tries to go into his natural, he walls the natural so the shade doesn't go through, like stuff like that. It's like interesting. It's like very Terran-esque.
And this is why we need pylons that can go up and go down. But until then, we're gonna be spawning in onto Death Aura. LE of course standing for Listerine extract. Listerine extract, that's when you put it in like your bagel to have a little bit of mint. In the bottom right corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right corner map, we have the Red Zug player coming down from the land of Peru, but also the land of Cappuccinos in Italia. He is currently teamless, but gunning for a second victory. His hiatus has prepared him just for this. We have Ryu.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Death Aura LE, we have the Mexican Protoss player, the best Protoss player in all of Latin America, El Silencio himself, as he was able to silence Jim Rising in the semifinals. Can he do it again here against another Latin American Zerg? We shall see. We have Pacomike.
El Taquito.
Exactly as they know him, Taquito himself. And I mean, he does have different ways of playing this out. You know, he did have a Stargate opener in game 1 against Jim. He had a Twilight Council opener in game 2. I think what's cool is that, you know, we haven't seen his final form. We haven't seen him go for like double Stargate or anything crazy like that, and maybe he's changing his ways.
That's definitely what I get. That's definitely the impression that I'm getting here, but I'm also kind of getting the impression that Pacomike, he's just saving that for right at the moment where Ryu least expects it.
Exactly. Like, I even loved on Romanticide how he was hiding. It's something you don't see too often, but he was hiding his gateways off to the side, and he was kind of rushing into this 6-gate Blink Stalker with no robo, and able to utilize that proxy location to reinforce even faster. And we saw like the Glaive Adepts, even though they got scattered, like they still dealt a lot of damage.
Yeah, they were able to do quite a lot thanks to the target firing. Starting off with a Stargate this time, Pacomike is. But again, we'll see just how dedicated he is to the sky toss style, as it could just be for a couple of oracles to harass. We never quite know.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on which unit comes out first, whether it's an Oracle to go across the map, whether it's a Void Ray to kill the scouting overlords, because if it's a Void Ray, then it could be a tell that he wants to go for some tech afterwards once he gets rid of that vision.
Exactly, there's always the opportunity. Ryu does come in with delaying somehow, and is able to scout. Void Ray first come down from Pacomike, but I'm not quite sure if Ryu was able to really catch that. It's something that, while you can see what's producing from Stargate, it's still a little tricky. At least for me, I have to zoom in still.
Yeah, it happens quite quickly, especially because the lane didn't survive for quite long. He was able to see the Stargate, and I mean, he should have confirmation about the Void Ray once it appears and takes out one of these overlords. But again, it's important to note that right now, Pacomike, he's prioritizing getting rid of the vision, making it more difficult for Ryu to scout.
Yeah, and that's why Ryu is just gonna scout even harder. He's gonna take to the sky and get a bird's eye view.
Exactly, just like a condor. And he's doing it!
There we go. 2 more Stargates have been thrown down. Are we gonna see a fleet beacon though, Light? That is a major question.
Oh, yeah, we'll see, because Pacomike, he does often throw down the fleet beacon to go straight into carriers. Before that, though, typically you want to get a decent amount of Void Rays out first before you tech too hard, otherwise you can kind of be caught with your pants down. But you know what, Ryu, he spots it! He gets in!
Those extra Stargates are not at all gonna help against these scouting overlords of Ryu. He's gonna have bird's eye view. And with that, Ryu, he's just gonna prepare behind. He's already gotten a couple of spores just in case Pacomike decides to go for some kind of, Oracle or Big Phoenix play. And we should just about be seeing a switch into Hydras, which is exactly what Ryu wants. He wants to go into Hydras so he can get the lurkers later on.
Exactly. I was about to say, so a couple of things come into play. One, Pacomike, like, it is not his day when it comes to hiding tech. Jim Rising scattered it in the previous series. Like, Ryu, like, Pacomike was hunting for that Overlord. Like, his Void Ray was, like, over just barely to the right of the Overlord looking for it. But Ryu was able to sneak past, was able to get that scout. And as you were saying, Ryu, like, he wants to get into those Hydras. Like, that's where he thrives.
Exactly. Going into +1 melee though, which is interesting. Maybe just as a way to be aggressive earlier on and then get the other upgrades later. I'm not too sure. My eyes are on the red production tab as Lair is just about going to finish up. What is the tech being thrown down after that?
Yeah, we shall see. As we were talking about it, so first Pacomike, he gets those Void Rays, then he throws down that Fleet Beacon. Eventually, he's going to be working towards those carriers, and he's trying to focus down the 4th base. Is he going to get it? There is energy for Transfuse.
There is, but it looks like Prismic Alignment is just way too good right now. And just gonna, what I'm thinking of here, like, recall. There was some Void Rays away. Nicely done here from Pacomike. And Ryu actually going for the Spire?
Ooh, this is a tough call to make. I've seen Jim do this against Pacomike, and I've seen it work, but it's kind of risky. So the thing is that Pacomike just lost a Void Ray. And that's pretty big, because even though Void Rays are technically the counter to Corruptors, like, when the Void Rays are in such low numbers, like, Corruptors can still kill all of this.
Exactly. The thing about Corruptors is they do projectile damage compared to the beam damage of Pacomike. So if you're able to actually just target fire the individual Void Rays down, you can kill all of them before the Void Rays kill too many Corruptors.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we're not talking about mass Void Ray right now, which would hard counter Corruptors. There's only 4 out on the map. The rest are going to be carriers. And once those Void Rays fall, the Corruptors, they can just go to town. We keep talking about Corruptors. We'll see if Ryu does something crazy and goes into Mutas.
I would love to see that, Light, but I do have my doubts. I think that the main thing that makes me believe that it's not going to be Mutas is that Ryu really needs some form of anti-air if he's not getting Hydras. He needs some form of reliable anti-air. Mutas would be pretty good as a harassment tool, right? Just to go around and try to slow down the economy of Pacomike, but I do not see it happening, as instead Pacomike, or Ryu rather, going to be going for drop Banelings.
Yeah,
he's been really liking his drop alert play today.
He's going to make it rain Banes here, and it doesn't even matter if there's a shield battery here. It won't out-heal the damage of these Banelings, and he's going to be going for that 3rd base. Meanwhile, we do see he is not going for those Mutas. He is going for those Corruptors, so he's not crazy. He's not insane. He has a plan, and again, like, once these 4 Void Rays fall, like, there's nothing really to stop these Corruptors from getting on top of the carriers.
Yeah, there really isn't. The Queens as well, just putting a little bit of pressure on top of these Void Rays, trying to chase them away from the 5th base that Ryu desperately wants to take. And it buys him a lot of time for the Corruptors to come out, the Banelings land, and 10 probes get taken out. Pacomike reacting at just 1 second too late.
Yeah, definitely. And now, ooh, it looks like the Corruptors may have been revealed. I don't know if Pacomike was able to spot them out of the corner of his eye because they were only there for a moment. But it looks like Ryu, he's just biding his time. He's waiting for the opportune moment to dive on top of these Void Rays.
Yeah, it doesn't quite want to tangle with Prismic Alignment, but now that it's done and it's on cooldown, should be seeing Ryu pounce on them, but apparently not. He's just going straight across the map.
He is, and you know what? There's nothing to protect the carriers. There's one lone naked carrier right now, and it's just going to be focused down.
Yeah, even with the battery overcharge, I do not see this carrier living. Another carrier comes out just to die. The shield battery getting taken out by the Lings. Really nicely done here from Ryu. He knew that, sure, this is a lot of air army, but Lings are surprisingly tough against these Void Rays.
Yeah, these are +1 Lings. Now +2 Lings are able to get on top of everything. Meanwhile, these Corruptors are going toe-to-toe with the Void Rays, but you know what? The Void Rays are starting to fall. Only 2 left, and another carrier is going to fall.
Yeah, but those 2 Void Rays with their Prismatic Alignment, they are very scary, especially with the Interceptors here, just able to clean up any of the lower health Void Rays. Another little run by coming in here from Ryu. Not getting too much done, but will confirm for Ryu what Pacomike's defenses are.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see what Ryu is planning with this +1 range. I don't know if that's a mistake or if he plans to throw down a Hydra Den regardless. He does have a decent Corruptor count, and it looks like potentially he can use that to his advantage. What, Roach Warren?
Yeah, I think +1 is actually just for the Roach. It's just for the Roaches. I think Pacomike really, or Ryu rather, just really wants to focus on the Corruptors as a form of anti-air and just have a very, very strong ground army that can take out the bases while Pacomike is still distracted in the sky.
Yeah, and it definitely can work. Again, there's not too much on the ground for Pacomike, only a couple of High Templar. Storm isn't even done yet.
No, it is not. And Pacomike gonna get surrounded here with those units. You really has to be careful with how he engages into this army. Archons do complete.
Yeah, Archons do complete, and again, they do have some pretty decent anti-air. They have very short range, so it's a little bit more difficult for them to catch up to the Corruptors, and 2 carriers get sniped.
That they do. That's a really expensive loss here from Pacomike, but he is starting to get his economy up and running. He can slowly start to afford these losses.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the problem is that Ryu, his economy has been left alone this entire time. Like, sure, the Void Rays early on were able to snipe a 4th base, but that's it. Now a 5th base goes down, a 6th base being taken from Ryu to just being as greedy as possible, and Pacomike, he's just forced to stay at home.
Ryu is exactly like a Hydra. 1 base goes down, 2 more take its place.
Exactly. And you know what? Another Archon is going to be going down. The High Templar are forced to transform into Archons as well. No Storms.
No Storms whatsoever. And now, honestly, this ground army is looking a little pathetic.
Yeah, there's literally only 2 Archons, and because of that, the Banelings, they get into the natural. 23 probes go down. At the same time, though, Pacomike, he's gone for this big Zealot run-by.
Yeah, and already taking out a lot of drones. Starting to equalize the worker count here. But Ryu, he's just so far ahead in terms of the bases. He is so far ahead in terms of the army. We'll have to be careful about the gateway transition right now from Pacomike, but honestly, it's still looking very good for Ryu. He's starting to get chased away, but I have doubts. Okay, let's see what Pacomike... let's see how Pacomike turns this around.
We'll see. Like, Ryu is able to defend. Sure, he lost the base, and honestly, the worker count isn't too different for these 2 players. Ryu just hasn't had the opportunity to really drone up, and that's where he's really lacking at the moment. He doesn't have a big bank to remax and attack once again. So Pacomike, he does have a bit of breathing room. He has been continuing to produce these carriers. He needs to repower that cybernetics core to work on that +2 upgrade. But again, once all that kicks in, like, Pacomike is getting kind of scary. Like, the carrier count is slowly getting larger and larger.
Yeah, the carrier count is getting better and better. The ground army is getting higher and higher. Or Scott goes around, the carrier count is getting high. Ground army is getting better. Wow. A lot of Templar and a lot of anti-air getting prepared right now for Pacomike. I like that everyone was able to deny that 1 more carrier though.
Oh yeah, that was actually pretty huge, especially because it takes so long for carriers to produce. So able to snipe 1 of the Stargates, and it was the Stargate that was actually producing a carrier. So doing whatever he can to essentially, you know, kill a carrier.
Yeah, to act to 100% kill a carry. Yeah.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Pacomike throws down another Stargate to try and reinforce and bring his production back up to speed. He's been contained and stuck on these 4 bases for quite some time, but again, as a Protoss player, that's okay. You kind of want to be on those 4 bases. And I'm a little bit shocked. Ryu, again, he hasn't droned up. He's only got 66 workers, and it's not like he's been losing them. He's just been cutting workers.
Yeah, interestingly enough. Just really wants to focus on having a higher army supply, which I don't really blame him. You're on a ZvP and your opponent's going for this carrier-based play. You want to have as big of an army supply lead as you can, but most of that army supply are also the Roaches, which aren't the most effective unit at this stage of the game.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what these Roaches are able to do. I mean, he should be able to maybe deny this space when it comes to breaking into a 4th base. Like, there's still a lot of stack defense. It's going to be more difficult to pull off. And, oh my god, there are Storms here. There are Archons.
There are Storms, there are Archons, there are Carriers to clean up. What yoinks, though? But the Vipers are starting to get targeted down. Ryu a little bit greedy here with his yoinks. And he's leaving his Vipers very exposed. One of them already taken out again. There is only 1 Viper left, and that is not going to be enough.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. As you were saying, like, he yoinks the carrier, but there was no follow-up. Like, he just doesn't have enough DPS, even gets feedbacked.
And that was absolutely massive. That could be the game-ending move here for Pacomike. Ryu trying to snipe out as many carries as he can, and he is doing a decent job of it. Meanwhile, the Roaches getting good surrounding the ground army. Storms do land.
Oh, they do land, and you know what? The ground army goes down, the sky army goes down, and Pacomike, he's just been able to turtle up for as long as he has been able to get that carrier count up, and now he's pushing across the map.
Slow and steady, and he is looking to end this. What does Ryu have? What can Ryu muster up here for defensive force? He's getting a lot of corruptors, and sure, there isn't that much in the air, but once that's dealt with, how is he going to turn things around on the ground?
Exactly.
All right, the Roaches are doing a good job on the Archons.
They are. If the Archons go down, maybe the corruptors can do something, but you know what? There are still Void Rays, 2 Void Rays in the mix, 3 carriers, and this may just be too much in the air for Ryu to deal with.
Yeah, the corruptor count is slowly getting taken out as they trickle in. Not the best rally in the world here from Ryu, and these carriers stand strong, and they're looking to turn this around. GG is called. Pacomike taking game number 1.
GG, and Ryu with an interesting response, going for a heavy Ling Corruptor composition to begin with, and I understand like the logic behind it, but I still feel like, you know, go for your bread and butter, right? Go for your Hydras, and maybe things would have been better because they don't just shoot up, they shoot down as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't quite get that logic. You might, but at that stage of the game, maybe Ryu was expecting this big Archon High Templar switch coming up, and so he just didn't want to deal with transitioning out of Hydras. But honestly, at that stage of the game, Hydras would have been fine.
Yeah, they definitely would have. Like it
potentially
is,
got him ahead.
Yeah, like the
win later down the line.
Yeah, because Hydras, they kind of hard counter Void Rays. Void Rays, they don't do too much to them. And in high enough numbers, like Hydras, they can get on top of carriers as well. Obviously, you end up in this dance where Pacomike rushes out those High Templar for those Storms, and then he kind of gets forced back. But then you end up in this macro game situation where you have Hydra Lurker Viper against like Carrier, Archon, Storm. And I feel like that's what Ryu wants, you know, like maybe he doesn't, maybe he's had bad experiences, maybe he respects Pacomike a lot and he wants to avoid that, but I don't know. The corruptor play.
Had enough.
Yeah, maybe.
Bored and says, you know what? Let's try something different. And then he realized that corruptors are actually kind of a boring unit. They're not the most exciting unit to control.
They aren't. And you know what? Like, he was very active with them. Like, he was trying to deal damage. He was going in, even using caustic spray on some of the buildings. I like how he was utilizing them, but I think what it is that because he had such a low drone count, like, his army was never very frightening. He was never maxed out. Like, he never had that opportunity.
Yeah, it feels like the idea was, okay, I'm going to keep a low drone count so we can get a massive army count. but the order of actually getting there was a little bit off. You want to have a decently high drone count so you get that bank up, and then start sacrificing your workers and spending that bank on army units.
Yeah.
All right. Going into game number 2, Pacomike is ready to face Light. No debe darla por dar a Karens. Not like this.
Oh my
I
god.
should realize.
Yeah.
Swapping it around.
God damn it.
Deme Dio.
Yeah, Funada Karen, god damn it. She was the lobby host and she didn't realize she was the only one who could move players away. So yeah, we were just waiting a little bit, but the players are ready and we are going to be getting ready to load in to Oxide.
We breathing.
We be breathing. And so
Yeah, like that.
yeah, I guess one of the big questions is for me, do you think Pacomike is going to utilize that style again in this series? Like go into like triple Stargate?
Not immediately. It is how I view it. I feel like on a map like Oxide, you can try to do something a little different. You can do something a bit more robo-based with force fields and what have you, but it's always possible. But till then, we're going to be loading in onto Oxido. We are briefing. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spotting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. We have the blue Protoss player coming down from the land of Mexico. He is El Taquito himself, going to be representing Alpha X LatAm division. We have Pacomike.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Peruvian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing himself and the land of Italia. We have Ryu.
And now we await.
We await.
What tech is going to be thrown down, and then we can, fill in the bingo card.
Exactly. Is it going to be Stargate again? Is it going to be Twilight Council? Is it going to be something else? Something crazy like a big 2-base charge immortal all-in that I've never seen Paco do before? Maybe.
I'm going to say yes.
It's possible. Is he going to actually commit and do a Colossus drop like he teased us against Jim Rising? I don't know.
I'm going to say he's not.
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. We're going to be waiting a little bit. We're going to be waiting a little bit for that, as these two players, they do respect one another, and especially on a map like Oxide. They don't want to. They don't really see the point in doing anything too out of the ordinary.
Yeah, definitely. So far, everything is pretty straight up. We don't even see a pylon block coming out from Pacomike forcing Ryu to go for another base or anything like that. Ryu, he's able to take his natural. Nothing too crazy going on. So, yeah, we'll see if Jim decides... Sorry, Jim. If Pacomike decides to whip out glaives like he did against Jim.
Yeah, naturally taking the natural.
Naturally.
Yeah. As the natural base of Pacomike does finish up here, if Twilight Council gets thrown down, and I think we're going to be seeing it again, Light.
Oh, okay. So we do have a Twilight Council. Again, a Twilight Council could mean a variety of things, and depending on how many gateways go down, we'll see how much of a commitment there is to those adepts.
You know what? It's only one gateway right now.
Oh.
It's only one gateway. What's the gas count looking like?
There's 2 gases. Could this be? Could he throw down? There it is.
There
it
is! The Dark Shrine does get thrown down, and if this catches Ryu off guard, that he is going to be in a lot of trouble. The Overlord is starting to come in. But is it going to be able to see that Dark Shrine? It just needs to be a couple of pixels south, and it sees it right at the end.
Oh, did he click on it though?
Ooh,
and even
click on it? That is a question.
That is a question. And to be fair, even if he didn't click on it, it looks very suspicious. It's not a pylon, something that small. It's going to be a Dark Shrine. I feel like Ryu, he should be aware.
Yeah, but what if it's a cannon?
Oh, you're right. Oh, nope. Okay, here we go. So Ryu himself was going for a fast lair, so he was going for a 2-base lair, going to go for a big roach push, and because he was able to scout the Dark Shrine, he immediately starts an Overseer. Oh, he even gets a second.
Just in case. As you know, DTs, they're not just invisible. 2 of them could also turn to Archons, and that can snipe an Overseer.
Exactly. So he has 1 at home to defend in case a DT does walk up that ramp. He is utilizing another to go across the map and scout, so he will confirm the 3rd base. Oh my god. Look what's on the way.
Huh. So we've been calling Darkness the LatAm Classic, but Pacomike taking a page out of that book as well.
Yeah, definitely, and I love this. So Pacomike, he is aware that he got scouted, so he warps in his DTs defensively, just to make sure he gets his 3rd base up and running.
Yeah, it's always good to have these sort of contingency plans, isn't it? You know that what you're opening, not going to be doing a lot of damage, so instead, what does Pacomike do to try to catch up? Just try to play as greedy as he's allowed to, given his circumstances.
Yeah, I'm just so like impressed and so curious as to what Pacomike is doing, because typically when you go for a Dark Shrine opening, it's followed up by a Warp Prism and you go across the map and then you warp in like Archons, and they are being warped in now, but oh my god, it's a bit late.
That's a little late. Yeah, shield battery already taken out, and the roaches are absolutely looking to take this out. There's no exit for these Archons, but the roach count is starting to get a little low thanks to this Immortal really helping out. Guardian Shell did get popped. Ryu, you can't be taking out the Immortal one that has Guardian Shell, but it wears off. And once he's able to take that out, there shouldn't be too much difficulty. There's not a lot of roaches left, though.
Yeah, exactly. He was just kiting around trying to get as much value as he could, so he was able to take out 1 Archon, 1 Immortal, which is honestly pretty huge, like already shaving off that Immortal count, utilizing that roach speed to his advantage, able to just kite around the 3rd.
Yeah, that's a pretty big investment that Pacomike is not going to be able to utilize. And yeah, interestingly enough, we do not see a Warp Prism coming out. More DTs getting warped in.
I mean, he has to, because Blink finished up for the DTs. He has to use it, right? Like, he has to get some kind of value of this opening tech, because so far he just hasn't been able to do anything with them.
But I was informed in the what's it called class that is the sunken cost fallacy. Of which it is time to understand when to scrap a project and utilize the resources for something different.
What is he utilizing them for, though?
Archons.
He is. I don't know how he's utilizing the blink for those Archons, but I mean, like, it obviously makes sense. Like, these DTs, especially with detection, like, they would have been useless against the roaches. We'll see if he's able to incorporate the blink in some way. Like, I don't believe he even has the Warp Prism. So, okay, there we go. The Warp Prism has finished up, so he could try and harass across the map. But the problem is, Ryu, like, he's just been left alone this entire time. He's getting a 4th, mate. Lurker Den on the way.
Finally going back to that bread and butter. And with all of this map control, Ryu, he's really leveraging himself into a much safer position. That said, he's going to be on Roach Hydra for a while, whereas Pacomike, he is building up his pseudo Soul Train army. There are a couple of sentries coming out. So it's not going to be an easy way for Ryu to really deal with force fields as of yet, but we are still going to be waiting a while. Both players still looking to tech up. Pacomike does not want to push out without his Robo Bay units. Ryu does not want to push out without lurkers.
Yeah, so both players are macroing up. I still kind of favor Ryu a little bit. I say a little bit because I think his 4th base is a little bit late. Pacomike has been on 3 bases for quite some time. He's ahead in workers. Like, just like in game number 1, Ryu's economy just hasn't been anywhere near as, like, he hasn't been anywhere near as greedy as he could have been.
Yeah, it's that one thing of you expect the Zerg economy to go really out of control and really avalanche if the Protoss player isn't able to really do much with it, or isn't really able to slow that down. Anyone else feel that lag?
No, we're good here. There's no
Ah,
stuttering or anything.
I also didn't stutter. Wait, I was able to move my mouse.
What?
Wait. Wait. No. Wait.
All
No.
right.
What happened? No, I know what happened. I blinked.
Okay. Well, there we go. Speaking of blink, you know, the DTs, they were found out by those Hydras. They were forced to be blinked away. They do manage to escape. Meanwhile, this War Prism is here outside the main base, is hiding, waiting for the opportunity to dive in and maybe warp in some DTs and deal some damage. But the problem is, like, as you were talking about, you know, the economy and the state of things and how we expect the Zerg player to be a little bit more greedy, Pacomike, he's on equal bases with Ryu. He's on 4 bases, just like Ryu. Ryu, he's taking his 5th, but again, it feels like he's one step behind in terms of this, and because of that, like, the supplies are relatively even, and like, this is getting kind of scary.
It is starting to get pretty scary. The lurkers are definitely going to be Ryu's best chance right now, but honestly, Pacomike does not have an army that lurkers can easily counter, right? Lurkers, you expect them to do well against, say, a big zealot-based composition. These are blink stalkers and immortals, plus disruptors that can really help out if Ryu bunches up his lurkers like that.
Oh my god, and no fear whatsoever. Pacomike, he just pushes on forward, gets on top of the lurkers, gets some nice juicy disruptor shots as well, and again, the main beefy force of this army, all those immortals are still standing strong for Pacomike.
That they are. A couple of DTs do get warped in, able to blink away from any sign of danger, but there's plenty of detection over here for Ryu. Pacomike just posturing around of his army, waiting for his disruptors to get off cooldown. The purification overs, I mean.
Yeah, that he is. He has to be ready and waiting, because you know what, these lurkers, they are still quite terrifying. I do believe they have seismic spines. No, they do not. Never mind. Only the first upgrade, the first hive upgrade on the way for Ryu. So it's going to take a little bit of time for him to really ramp up in terms of his like lurker effectiveness. But he did rush out those vipers. Maybe too many vipers, to be honest.
Yeah, other than yoinking, there's not really a lot that the Vipers can do. Really good purification overs. One disruptor does get sniped, but not before it could get the damage done. Really good blinding clouds coming out. And this is a choke point that Ryu can absolutely utilize, but not before his 5th base gets taken right out.
Oh, yeah, there just wasn't enough on the ground. Like, sure, he had plenty of Vipers, but as you were saying, like, sure, they can yoink, they can use their spells, but there's nothing really to you know, reinforce this army. There's no follow-up, I should say. He needs more on the ground. He needs more lurkers, more hydras, as, oh my god, someone's lagging out. Yaku, please!
Is it me?
No!
No, yeah, it's not
me. You Pacomike!
I told you that was lag. He was doing so well!
He was. Nada. Oh god. Paco, please. Maybe, hopefully, you know what, Dark King is able to like run a cable over to Paco's house and like help out his internet, as they are neighbors.
That they are living in that no, not the Jefe. The other one that I don't remember. Monterrey, Jack.
Oh god, yeah, I mean, F's in the chat. Pacomike, as you were saying, he's doing so well. If he does disconnect, we'll just resume from replay. We'll get him back in here, because this is still anyone's game. Like, sure, the thing is that, sure, Pacomike was able to kill the 5th, but he wasn't able to continue to push in, and Ryu, he's just been investing in that, like, hive composition. Like, he's got so many Vipers ready for that late game. He's got his lurkers, he's working on his hive lurker upgrades as well. Like, he's getting that end game composition that he wants.
He very much so is, but meanwhile, yeah, Pacomike, I mean, I'm just looking at the production tab, going to Stargate as well as the Temple Archives, getting a quick little change in strategy coming up, really working on that late game. But, yeah, we're not going to be able to get there. So we are gonna wait and see Pacomike can get back and how we shall proceed from there. In the meantime, I am gonna use the bathroom real quick.
Go for it. As we have, or as Pacomike has officially DC'd from the game, so everyone has left. We are just gonna cross our fingers and hope that Pacomike can get back into this, because Pacomike, he was up 1-0 in the best of 5, right? Like, and honestly, he was looking really good in game 2. He was equal in economy, and that's something that you never want to see as a Zerg player. That's something that you always want to see as a Protoss player. That's the wet dream, to be equal on economy and have a massive army, and that's exactly what Pacomike has. Like, the game can still go either way. Hopefully he can come back to us and we can resume from replay. Here we go. We have everyone ready. We are loading into the replay, and as a reminder, I think thankfully that it's not like there was a big fight or a big engagement going on when they DC'd. Both players.
Yeah, they were actually just pulling out from an engagement as we start to recover. Make sure we don't have anything too incriminating in observer chat.
Oh, all right. You know what? I'm just gonna hide just in case that main screen.
So I don't see the exclamation mark quote. Not in this chat, but exclamation mark Discord in this chat brings you to the CranKy Ducklings Discord server, and if you do exclamation mark quote long enough, you'll find out what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure to join our Discord. I mean, we all hang out there. We have a lot of clips. We have a lot of quotes. We all kind of converge. The Ducklings do anyway, and yeah, you can be a part of the community.
I agree. You definitely can. Jim Raynor is like staring into my soul.
Yeah.
On this loading screen.
What about Tassadar? What's his name? Phoenix? No. The new guy. Who's the new guy on the right?
Alarak?
No, the other. He's red. This guy, the blue guy. Artanis. There we go.
He's more like staring through my soul. Into what's behind me.
What's behind you?
Pizza drawer.
That's it. He's judging you, looking at that pizza drawer.
Yes.
Right, here we go.
Here we go again. Both players start to remember what they were doing and how they wanted to go about this game.
Yeah, as a reminder, what just happened was that Pacomike did go into the fifth base of Ryu, was able to snipe the base entirely because Ryu, he just didn't have enough on the ground. He had invested so much into these Vipers, and you know what? He was able to keep them all alive and slowly gather that energy for the next fight.
And as he took that slight economic lead, now Pacomike are going to be taking advantage of that, trying to tech up. There's no detection here!
No!
And a lone lurker going to be taking out a good amount of those stalkers. Oh boy.
Ah, Jesus Christ. Paquito, he does not have vision. There we go, the Observer finally joining the main army.
Yeah, a couple of, no, only one disruptor getting yoinked, but so does an immortal. And slowly but surely, Pacomike, his current robo-based army is starting to get countered, which is why he decides to go into his Stargate play. But here come the lurkers.
Exactly, we were talking about it. Ryu, he's all about them drop alerts. Every single game, every single series, he's been able to utilize them in different ways. And no, Paco, please don't do it again.
No.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
We're back. We had a little bit of lag there, but you know what? Ryu, he's able to defend his top left. At the same time, the lurkers, they're in the bases of Paco.
They are in.
And these DTs can't do anything.
Doing quite a lot of damage. Yeah, DTs. That's a good amount of DPS, but there's just no detection available. An observer is making its way out, but it's not being chrono boosted. It's going to take a while. Beautiful blinding cloud being used here.
Yeah.
And sure, the base is exposed, but it just gets cancelled.
And you know what? Oh, the robot gets taken out before the observer comes out. And the observer across the map was sniped as well in that main fight.
This is potentially game ending right now. Lurker's camping the high ground onto that 4th base location as well. It's not like there are any probes to snipe anymore, but just really preventing the mining from coming down. DT's finally able to take out that Lurker.
Yeah, finally. Meanwhile, here to the top right, still no detection with this main army, but there is a massive zealot run by over to the left-hand side. Ryu, he did not split up his army correctly enough. He has all these roaches, but they're just dancing over in the top left.
They're doing a coffin dance, is what they're doing.
They're doing the coffin dance.
4th base is gone.
The 4th base goes down. Meanwhile, a massive warp in into the main base. It looks like the hive could go down as well.
It is very much so looking that way. Just a couple of transfuses coming in with the main army, and the hive barely gonna stay alive here.
Oh my god, and again, it's so important that Paco was able to do that because Paco lost so much in his main base, like, to that lurker drop, but he was kind of able to equalize in damage, able to snipe the 4th base. The 5th is still not up and running. A decent amount of drones went down as well.
I think the major concern right now is just the fact that Pacomike, he's maxed out. Or Ryu is maxed out. He is looking to completely take this game, as Pacomike kind of struggling a little.
Yeah, again, because
he cannot spend his money fast enough because of the production being taken out. Yeah,
exactly. The production got taken out. The economy was in shambles. The majority of the immortals, every single immortal gets yoinked.
They do. The observer gets sniped as well, and our disruptors, they are on cooldown. Stalkers are in a lot of trouble, forced to blink away, and once again we see Ryu is taking a supply lead as Pacomike tries to go around.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the main army is not being stopped. Another disruptor goes down. There is a massive run by, a massive counterattack coming in from Pacomike, which is nice, but there's just nothing to stop all these lurkers.
No, there is not. A couple of gateways being taken down, and this just opens up a whole new world of pain for Pacomike. Ryu's drone count is starting to get really low, but he's got a bank. This is exactly what Ryu wants to happen. He wants to be able to just get as big of an army as he can.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sure, 30 drones went down, sure, a base went down on the side of Ryu, but it's all about the main army. And, like, for the most part, the Vipers and the Lurkers have stayed alive. Like, this composition is still top tier for Ryu.
It 100% is. A couple of High Templar now being warped in just as a way to, you know, try to get some defenses out, some more Archons out, but Ryu is still holding strong over on his side of the map, able to deflect that. GG is called, and Ryu is going to be tying up that series sideways 2-2.
GG. And honestly,
1-1 is what I meant, not 2.
Yes, regardless, we are sideways. We are 1-1. Ryu was able to bring it back, and honestly, I was feeling a little bit worried. Like, Paco, he was looking so strong in that game, like counterattacking, forcing Ryu, like pulling Ryu apart a little bit. But you know what? That big lurker drop, that was key there for Ryu.
That was absolutely key. Such a good positional decision. Just really understanding where Pacomike's army was and what he had to defend and what he didn't have to defend over in the main base there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're just the problem is that Paco, he warped in to defend, but he just didn't have detection. Like, he had no way to clean. He had like a bunch of DTs hanging around. He had like an Archon as well, just chilling in the natural, but he couldn't see the lurkers. He couldn't do anything about them. And I just love how in every single series, like, it's not like the same thing has been happening. It's just like Ryu, he has different ways to incorporate those drops.
Exactly. It's a similar strategy, but just with different tactics.
Yeah. We talk about it all the time, but I mean, he's a big fan of Vivid. You know, he's always in the stream, always watching, redeeming those points to make sure Vivid stays hydrated and wears those hats. And, you know, he's kind of picked up a couple of things here and there, like those drops.
Yeah, like the piano.
Exactly.
And exactly like Vivid, and we're going to see if he maybe takes a page out of Vivid himself, or maybe some of those other streamers from the region. As you're on the romanticide for game number 2.
Yeah. We'll see if he plays like Vivid or he plays like Oreo or even like old mate Ryan.
Old mate. What would that consist of for Ryan?
That's that's a good. Well, playing
Hold
playing
up.
like Ryan is going on a hiatus, coming back for 3 weeks, and qualifying for DreamHack.
And then going on another hiatus.
Yep.
My work here is done. As we load in to our next map of the specified finals, we are now on Romanticide LE. That LE, of course, standing for Lovers. Enormous. Lovers enormous. That is the giant in space. Or something like that. I don't remember what that lore is from. In the top left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the Red Zerg player coming down from the land of Peru, but also from El Italiano. We have, gonna be currently teamless, El Condor himself, it's Ryu.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the Mexican Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, hailing from the land where Alpha X resides. We have Pacomike. El Taquito himself.
El Taquito.
Where are you going?
I need to... This probe, it's doing probe stuff, you know? Much similar to his game against Jim Rising. Let's see if Ryu is going to be able to spot this, if Ryu is able to, you know, get that spidey senses out and send over an Overlord just for confirmation. Because Pacomike, this is not a scouting probe. It's waiting by that pylon. It's waiting to throw down a tech structure or potentially a gateway.
Yeah, we shall see, because as you were saying, Pacomike did something pretty similar to this versus Jim Rising. He was able to proxy a gateway, but this pylon is so much more. It's so early compared to the previous game, the previous series.
Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. There we go. Stargate gets thrown down. We should be seeing them oracles coming out, and Ryu not quite expecting this. We take a look at what Pacomike has as natural. It looks standard-ish. You know, he really does need to fill up his wall.
So the big thing is that because he has not filled up his wall, because there are so many gaps here, these slowlings, they're going to be getting in from Ryu, and the important part is that if he gets into the main base and if he scouts everywhere, he's going to see that a pylon is missing.
That it is, and with that, Ryu is going to be sending overlords everywhere. Going to be checking every corner of this base just to make sure he's not getting bamboozled. And he sees that, in fact, he is not.
Yeah. He sees that there's nothing there, so he should be aware that there is some kind of proxy out on the map. We'll see what his reaction is going to be, because you know what? So far, there are no spores, and this Oracle, it's going to be popping out quite soon.
I would love if he just link floods from here. But not going to be the case. Yeah. Not going to be the case. Oracle already out, and spores still on the way.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah, the one natural should just about pop out, but the one in the main, that's scary.
Oh, but you know what? The Oracle, it's taking its time. It didn't go into the main base. It was only just now going into the natural, and as you were saying, the spore is done.
Spore did complete. There are queens in position, but the Oracle did take some evasive maneuvers going around that, and 3 probes go down, or drones go down. That's not too bad. Oracle stays alive.
Yeah, the Oracle does stay alive. There is a second Oracle on the way, and it should pop out before the pylon dies, so there will be 2 Oracles in total managing to come out and, ooh, even saves the pylon for the Void Ray.
Thanks, Kronos Boost.
Yeah, shout out to Kronos, working on his Masters.
Yeah. And by Masters, you don't mean Masters League, we mean his MBA. Wait, is that the right one? acronym that I use. Anyway, Oracle coming back in, but this time not enough energy. That Void Ray is not getting out light.
Wow. I did not think Ryu was going to be able to do it, but he does. He manages to snipe the pylon before the Void Ray pops out, delaying the production from Pacomike and forcing him to throw down that Twilight Council a little bit earlier than he would have liked.
Yeah, it shows you what you can really get done with commitment like that. That's the
kind of commitment we want to see on a map like Romanticide.
And it is, funnily enough, the highest rate of, what's the word I'm thinking of, like?
Marriage?
Yes, on this map.
Proposals?
Potentially, yeah.
Relationships?
Maybe. Divorce! No, not divorce. The other one.
The birth rate?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it is quite high on this map. Meanwhile, we do have a pretty big Ling counterattack, able to catch a couple of probes, being transferred to the third.
Yeah, but once he uses sentries, realizes, I'm not messing with the literal best unit in the game, so Lings have to back away.
Sentries are pretty good.
Yeah, they do a surprising amount of damage. I think somebody figured out that +3 sentries actually do, on certain units, actually do more DPS than Stalkers. +3 Stalkers do.
Yeah, and that's because, sentries, they have that constant damage. They don't have to, wait for their shots, their projectiles to come out or anything like that. They're pretty good. I'm pretty sure, with enough sentries, you can one-shot an Ultra.
No, because it's still beam damage, so you can't one shot because it's a continuing attack.
I mean, technically it is one shot though, right? Because you shoot once and then the beam doesn't end.
But what if you kite?
What if? Yo, we got a Spire on the way.
Anyways, Spire is coming down, and with that rich Vespine base taken from Ryu, we should be seeing them Mutas come out.
Yeah, boy. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. This could be to the detriment of Ryu. We shall see, because Pacomike behind this is committing to the double Stargate. Oh, I didn't get scouted
once again, but it does get scouted.
Ooh.
And now will Ryu react to this with Corruptors and Mutalisks? Neither is going to be the answer to that, as he goes back to his bread and butter. There's first Hydra Den, and oh my god, Pacomike, please.
Jesus Christ, Pacomike, he did end up losing one of his oracles, kept the other alive, and I love this. Ryu, he has learned, he has progressed, he has adapted from game number one. Game number one, of course, he scattered all the Stargates and he went into Corruptors, and it just didn't go his way. He's like, you know what? Screw the Corruptors, I'm going into Hydras.
That he will, and that's actually going to work out even better for him, as Pacomike not going straight to the Fleet Beacon, getting a couple of Phoenixes before really dedicating himself to his late game Skytoss tech.
Yeah, and honestly,
I wonder if he's gonna get Aeon Pulse with that beacon.
He shouldn't now, because like Pacomike, he did scout the Spire earlier, so that it makes sense that he would go for the Phoenixes, because he suspected his opponent to go for Mutas. But you know what? His opponent is going for those Hydras. It did get scouted once again, so we'll see what Pacomike reads from this. We'll see what he's able to learn from all this information.
Probably involving Sanderson. 2 infestation pits coming down right now for Ryu.
Yeah, he's just making sure he gets those upgrades for those infestors.
He wants to get double upgrades at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Because think about it, what really will turn a Skytoss army into the ground? Fungals and Neurals.
Yeah, exactly. You're not wrong.
I'm proud of myself. I'm not really wrong.
Look, I didn't want to bring it up, okay? But, oh god, I'm just so surprised that Pacomike is committing so much to these Phoenixes. He may be misreading this scenario, because I don't feel like Phoenixes are necessarily the answer against Hydras. They can do well against Lurkers, the same way that you can pick up tanks to CC them, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say, maybe while he was waiting for his Fleet Beacon to come out, he thought, I gotta spend this money somehow. If I get the Phoenixes out, I can get some crowd control on the Lurkers, maybe potentially even the Queens or Infestors if Ryu decides to go that way, but not quite gonna be the case. Actually, now that I think about it, Phoenixes would be good against Vipers, wouldn't they?
Yeah, like as long as you have the control, right? As long as you're able to keep them alive, keep them away from the Hydras, rotate around them, and then get those lurkers or Vipers, like Phoenixes are pretty good.
Yeah, Phoenixes are definitely pretty good, but we'll have to see how they work in the hands of Pacomike. As both players just really setting things up. Ryu, he's satisfied with the tech he's got, just gonna get the upgrades for his main army composition and, you know, open up these choke points to be able to get some surrounds in the Protoss army. Pacomike just continuing to work on, not fully committed to Sky Toss, gonna be a mix of ground and Sky Zerg, which he really does need. I mean, he's getting Storm, which is the major... I mean, that's a major supplement, right, to Sky Toss, but the fact that he's adding down more gateways, he knows that he does not... I feel like Pacomike doesn't expect his Sky Toss army to last that long.
Yeah, I like that Pacomike isn't being stubborn. Like, he started to go into carriers, but he didn't commit ultra hard to them. He threw down all these gateway units. Like, he realizes that he needs something else to deal with the Hydras first before he goes full greed mode and goes into those carriers. Yeah,
and before that, he may need... Okay, this base is definitely going to go down as long as Ryu targets it. The army of Pacomike is starting to get close, and Ryu just going for the probes. I mean, can't really blame him. And here we go. The Phoenixes are definitely showing what they can get done as they lift just about every single one of these lurkers. But a lot of DPS on top of these choked up stalkers. The Phoenixes have run out of Graviton Surge, and with that, Ryu will just about be chased away, but that was a very, very expensive defense here, coming down from Pacomike.
Yeah, that was honestly really close.
Even the Immortal goes down!
Yeah, like, Pacomike lost so much there. Only 2 Phoenixes remained, only 2 carriers. I don't know if you noticed, but every single Interceptor died to the Hydras as well. Like, they only just barely managed to hold on. Yeah, as you were saying, that was a very expensive loss. Important to note that a bunch of probes went down earlier as well. 21 probes in total died, the majority of them here at this base. And as all that was happening, Ryu, hey, he's got 83 workers. Like, he's fine.
He is finer than wine. Has, again, just going to be building into this Lurker Hydra composition. He knows that this is a very well-rounded composition, right? It's not necessarily the counter to what Pacomike is going for, but it's strong enough that no matter what Pacomike throws at it, it still has a fighting chance.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially because you know what? All the Phoenixes have died. Those were the 2 remaining Phoenixes, and that means no more CC is going to be available to deal with these lurkers. Now, there's only just the army that Pacomike has on the ground. To be fair, this time he has some High Templar, he does have Storm.
He definitely does, and since this is mostly Hydras, it is looking to be a very squishy army, but now that the detection has been taken out, lurkers are going to have a lot less trouble trying to come down. A massive run by here with all these zealots, but already we see the attack paths that Ryu was setting up earlier on, helping out so much. And sure, he has to remake that base, but honestly, Ryu is still in a very fine position. Look at that bank as he's maxed out.
Yeah,
doesn't even
like,
care about that stalker.
That was a nice run by. Yeah, that was a nice run by from Pacomike. Like, honestly, it was well worth it losing those handful of zealots for the hatchery. But the problem is the main army, right? We were talking about it earlier. He lost so much earlier. Does he have enough here to hold? It's all about the storms.
Indeed it is. Both players really trying to make the choke point work to their advantage, but Ryu stacked up way too many lurkers at way too close a position, and the storms are absolutely punishing him. Trying to get a couple of yoinks down, but again, not gonna be enough. Pacomike absolutely knows where to fight. But the interceptors have started to be taken down.
Exactly. Like, again, only a couple of storms remaining. One pretty good storm does land, but the blinding cloud lands as well. The storms!
The storms managed to hit. Pacomike even getting the feedback on top of these Vipers. Very, very expensive loss here coming down from Ryu. And Pacomike, he's held. He hasn't taken too much economic damage. He's lost a couple of key units here in those carriers. But I feel like he can rebuild it, but the numbers don't actually back up don't back up what I'm feeling in my stomach here, Light.
Yeah, honestly, that was like a really good defense, but maybe the best defense that he could have hoped for. And the majority of the carriers did stay alive, but as you were saying, like Pacomike has to weather the storm once more, maybe twice more. And does he have enough to defend? Like with that, maybe if he had static defense, like if he had a couple of shield batteries and overcharge available to him, yes, but with the follow-up, it's hard to say. He does have High Templar. He needs a little bit more time to get enough energy for storms.
That he does, but he doesn't just need Storm right now. He needs a lot of other resources, as what's really killing him right now is the fact that a lot of those interceptors, they were taken out. And remember, interceptors aren't like Rootlings. They do cost money to produce from these carriers.
Exactly, that's money that Pacomike just doesn't have. But you know what? He's now fighting with the side defense. The cannons, the shield batteries are coming into play as well. This is maybe the best fight that Pacomike could hope for.
Yeah, all of the detection is here for Pacomike, and they are getting right on top of these lurkers. I have so many questions about that position for Ryu. But I guess you just had to get going.
Did he though? That's the big question, because Ryu, he lost every single lurker, and look at the supplies equalized after that. Like Ryu, he was maxed out. He had everything he needed, but he just cornered himself between two nexuses, between the main army and a bunch of side defense, and every single lurker went down. And now Pacomike, he's brought himself back.
He very much has, with little by little. And now Ryu, he has completely spent his bank. He is scrambling for an anti-air force just so he can get more lurkers out. So we see a lot of spores coming down. Ooh, good yoink!
Good yoinks, and it looks like there is a follow-up, but the storms as well do land on top of the hydras, and Pacomike, he can't overstay his welcome. He is deep on creep.
He is knee-deep into creep. And he does still have a couple of storms available to him, but Ryu, he is looking to just dodge them as much as he can. Opening up all of his attack avenues, making sure that there's not too many choke points his opponent can take advantage of.
Yeah, exactly. Like the creep spread is pretty good. Like it's all over the center of the map, looking to reach around to the main bases of Pacomike. So because of that, it's a little bit more difficult for Pacomike to pull things like this off. Like he's trying to go for a big run by, but there are lurkers all over the place. Never mind, they unburrow.
They do unburrow, but they burrow back enough to just about cut that harassment force in two. Meanwhile, the main army of Ryu is really going to be preoccupied over here, losing quite a bit.
Yeah, he does end up losing a High Templar, but you know what? Meanwhile, the Zealots, they actually go into the dash when they target down the lurker den.
That was absolutely key. Pacomike really starting to swing things around. A couple of very exposed carriers do get taken out, as Ryu is starting to incorporate a couple of corruptors into the mix.
I have to wonder, I have to peek into the mind of Pacomike. Was that Zealot run by that got into the natural, was the initial goal to snipe that lurker den? Because that was a big brain. Like I don't I
don't think it was the initial goal, but once he saw it, he just had to lock on.
Yeah, that was actually so good. Forces the lurker den to be remade. Pacomike, he did lose two carriers earlier. They did get yoinked out of the sky, so it was kind of rough. But at the same time, Pacomike, he's almost maxed out. Like he's getting to the point where he can, kind of afford some of these trades.
Yeah, we can really start to go toe to toe with Pacomike. It's not going to be for a little while longer, as Pacomike still has to. He's also built up a bit of a bank to him, but he has a very scary army that can absolutely stand toe-to-toe. All of the Hydras being taken out.
Jesus Christ. And you know what? I keep talking about this. We've talked about this before. Ryu, he just hasn't been able to expand. Like, he's trying to expand over to the bottom left. No one has expanded to the top right. Like, he just doesn't have a lot of bases. But you know what he does have? He does have a lot of stack defense.
He does indeed, and that's going to be able to slow down the army of Pacomike for long enough. Really good storms. Blanketing just about the entire army, bar the lurkers.
That was all the storms though. Only one High Templar left.
That was all the storms. There's only one Templar. It does not have the energy. Really good blinding clouds coming out, and with that, it looks like Ryu has finally been able to take that game-ending engagement.
Exactly. We were talking about Pacomike weathering the storm earlier, but you know what? That's exactly what Ryu did. All the storms were used, and once all the storms get used, like, that's all the Protoss has. Like, then you have to back off, and Pacomike, he was just too far in to the map.
That he was. Meanwhile, another run by force does help out quite a bit. Ryu has remade his bank and then spent his bank and then remade another bank and then absolutely spent it again. Both players are starting to get pretty low in the economy count, so every base that they take from here on out is going to be crucial.
Yeah, like that was a big loss losing that hatchery, but you know what? Ryu, he expanded to the bottom left, so he's able to divert his workers over there. He's able to still have a decent economy, but despite that, like Pacomike, he did save the majority of his carriers. He did lose 2 when he was trying to recall. He has remade his High Templar. He's got plenty of energy this time, so yeah, Ryu, he's gonna have to think twice if he tries to counterattack.
Which, it is on his mind, but he knows he has to take a little bit more of a cautious stance at the moment. He can't really afford to just throw away his supply.
I don't know if I like this composition from Ryu. Like, if he had a couple of Broodlords, sure, but he has so much supply in the air in these Corruptors. Like, if Pacomike wins the ground fight, I don't know.
I feel like it's a little too stubborn here, but it may just about be what he needs. Ryu right now is saying, I want to have as little supply as possible on the ground. Because I know my opponent's probably just going to be getting, what, a couple of Archons, a couple of Immortals, and then it's the carriers and the Skytoss army I really have to worry about. But I do agree with you there. Once the Corruptors take out the carriers, what are they going to do after that?
Yeah, I feel like Pacomike needs to realize what's happening. If he's able to spot this main army, the composition, he should switch to ground. He should stop making carriers. Like, carriers are not what he needs right now. If he wants to commit to the air, then like stop carriers and start pumping up Void Rays, you know? Like, you need something to help stop these Corruptors.
Yeah, you really, really do. And something about Romanticide, just I'm getting flashbacks to ANZ champs. Brings out the longer games and the PPCs.
Well, I mean, Romanticide is the new Eternal Empire. It is the largest map in the map, where it does lead to the longest games, and that's exactly what we're getting here. And to be fair, I will say Pacomike has done a good job at like stopping the creep. The creep hasn't gotten out of control, so the Spore Forest hasn't gotten out of control either. So because of that, like Pacomike, he's bought quite a lot of time.
He definitely has. Losing a couple more carries here, which, again, it's a pretty expensive loss. There are still a couple of maps or a couple of bases that have yet to be claimed on the map.
Yeah, that's the surprising thing, right? We're 22 minutes into the game, and only just now Pacomike is expanding over to the top right. Still, only now Ryu is expanding to the bottom left, so there's still plenty of fresh bases, like still plenty of money on the map.
For now, there's only one. All the way up there in the top right-hand corner. Whoever claims that first is going to be declared the winner, I do say. All right, look, coming back in. Lots of carriers coming down.
Definitely, and the storms do blanket the army again. The storms are really what's keeping the Corruptors at bay, as it looks like Pacomike, he is able to hold on to his internet. He does stand strong, and he kills the base. It looks like he's trying to retreat.
He is trying to, but again, this is very much Ryu County. It's a lot of creep. You can do a lot of damage over here. Ryu being very careful not to bunch up his Corruptors too much, as they are starting to get into the yellow zones of their health. A run by doing so much to the north.
Yeah, and the problem is that Ryu, even though he has all these Corruptors, he can't commit. He can't dive on these carriers, because if he does, like, the Archons are just going to kill everything. They're just going to absolutely obliterate everything in the sky for the Zerg.
They absolutely will, and now we're finally seeing a Great Aspire being thrown from Ryu. So we should be seeing a couple of Broodlings coming down, and that could absolutely turn the tides. You know, I don't want to call it a war of attrition, but you know, little by little, those Broodlings, they're gonna chip away at the Protoss army.
Yeah, like honestly, I was calling for it earlier. Like, Broodlords would have been perfect like 5 minutes ago. Now it's so late that, you know, Ryu, he just lost 2 hatcheries in the span of like a minute. Like, he's starting to bleed out. Like, he's starting to tear at the seams, I should say. But at the same time, Ryu, he is going for this big counterattack, utilizing those lurkers.
And there's just not enough detection coming out here yet. The cannon is so low. We got second out.
That was detection.
That was the only detection.
Wow. Deja vu. Like, the DTs just can't do anything. This is exactly what happened in the previous game.
It is exactly what happened. Waiting for the Observer to come down. And meanwhile, Pacomike just trying to go into the western corner of Ryu's aces right now. Not getting too much done. Another couple of really good storms. zoning out the entire army, covering every single corruptor. And now the corruptors, they're starting to get into the red zone of their health.
That they are. You know what? They trade a base for a base. Finally, the observer does show up, but not before 17 probes go down on the side of Pacomike. And meanwhile, Ryu himself, he just lost one hatchery. It looks like he's going to be losing the bottom left as well. Mining is not going to happen whatsoever here to the corner bases. And yeah, this is just going to continue on. Like, it's so scrappy.
It very much is. Both players just really reinforcing themselves, really just unwilling to make any major commitments without a maxed out army. Broodlord's coming down, and that might be enough to deal with the ground army.
This could
really gonna come down to the storms for Pacomike, I feel.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to the storms for Pacomike, and I feel like when he sees these Broodlords, he needs to commit into Void Rays. Like, he needs something to deal with them, because Archons are not gonna get anywhere near these Broodlords. Like, they have such short range to begin with, and it looks like we're going for a bit of a pseudo base trade.
Alright, well, Pacomike does have a recall available to him, but we'll see how both players choose to proceed. Is this starting to go down?
Yeah, and you know what? Ryu, he is not turning around quite yet. Nope, he does not. He is committing, is he? Question mark?
This is more you can make right now.
Yeah, he froze up a little bit indecisive.
Yeah, pulling a little bit of a Pacomike internet.
Just a bit.
Yeah, and freezing up a little. Ryu has taken some damage, but he's causing a lot of damage over on the side of Pacomike. Pacomike not using a recall, is slowly making his way with his army to defend one of his fresher bases. This is where Pacomike is choosing to take a stand, and this is absolutely the right position to defend, but I'm not sure if defending is the right call.
Yeah, so basically what happened is that Pacomike took out the northern bases and he expanded to the north, and meanwhile Ryu took out the southern bases of Paco and he's expanding to the south. So they've kind of rotated bases a little bit. We see Pacomike is going for a counterattack, but it isn't going to be dealing too much damage, and yeah, like, again, they just kind of traded bases, traded places, rotated a little bit to their different ends of the map, and yeah, mate, we're just going to keep going.
Base trade, but without the race. Mothership now coming down for Pacomike. Cannot believe that took us this long. Well, actually I can, because the economic position of both players.
That's the thing, right? Like, because both players have been constantly losing probes, constantly losing bases, like, things have really... It's taken a long time to get to this stage of the game where Ryu was able to finally get Broodlords and Pacomike is able to finally get his Mothership.
That it has, but with this Mothership, I feel like Pacomike will have just a bit of an edge over Ryu. Don't want to call anything too soon, but Pacomike, I mean, he's realized I should now switch into Void Rays. Both players very, very close to maxing out.
I think what's scary is that at the moment, I think Ryu only has 2 Vipers with this main army, and like that's what he's gonna have to rely on to take out the Mothership, because if he doesn't, then it's gonna be the Broodlords aren't gonna be doing anything. Like, it's gonna be so difficult to deal with this detection.
Yeah, it definitely will. The Overseers, I mean, they can help, but they can always get sniped by the Archons and what have you. Right, there is detection over here, but there's just way too much DPS on that army. This base is going to go down. Ryu trying to prevent mining from Pacomike's fresh base. But it's all going to come down to the main army engagement. Both Vipers taken out. 1 Viper remaining.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, the feedbacks were on point. The target fire was on point. The observers, sorry, the overseers got taken out as well. There are a couple more in this main army, but you know what? Ryu, he just can't engage. He couldn't push in, and the base didn't just go down. The Lurker Den and the Hydrogen went down as well.
Yeah, no more ground units coming out from Ryu. He has to really commit to the Sky Army. Supply isn't too terrible, all things considered, but it's still a little bit behind on Pacomike, which means that he's at a disadvantage. That's just how ZvP works.
Yeah, I will say that at the moment, I do favor Pacomike. He's in control. Like, there's just the creep spread isn't there. The spore forest that, you know, was there is no longer. Like, and that's like what you need to fight with in this stage of the game. If you're Ryu, you need to yoink units into your spores, into your corruptors, and fight with everything you have. And it's just not there. It's just not there for Ryu.
No, it really isn't. there's not any major spellcasters or any major unit that can really. There's not a unit that can really start turning things around. You know, no fungals or anything like that. And even if you did get a fungal, then what's the follow-up going to be?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's just not too much. And it looks like Pacomike is pulling some of the army here to the north. Meanwhile, the main Skytos army is trying to push into the bottom left. But you know what? There are a couple of spores here. There are a couple of corruptors, so he's finding it difficult to really engage.
He really is. So again, we're just going to go into a bit of a war of attrition right now. Ryu really trying to hold the line with these lurkers, trying to prevent any harassment from the ground units of Pacomike. Meanwhile, that's a lot of infestors, no, interceptors onto a fairly fresh base for Pacomike.
Oh my god.
Ryu, I should say.
Yeah,
only about 2 more bases remaining for him.
Yeah, and the feedbacks were on point. Like, the Viper energy just went completely, just plummeted to the ground, forced to try and suck on a couple of these gases. And Ryu, he just can't do anything without those energy-based units. He needs to, like, utilize those yoinks on the carriers, on the motherships, and Pacomike is just not letting him do it. Oh.
No, he's not, but the Viper's coming in. Mothership very exposed, and it does get taken out. Throws out a time warp just at the last second, but not the most ideal position. Ryu just completely ignores it, and now Pacomike has to back away. We are going to be waiting for another mothership to come down, so hope you guys are strapped in.
Strap yourself, exactly. Strap yourselves in, as we are going to be waiting for that mothership to finish up. Meanwhile, there is a bit of a run by. The infestation pit doesn't go down, but you know what? It's fine because there's a second one. Yo, Ryu, he was thinking ahead.
That's exactly what happened. Some may have questioned it, but in the end, all will answer to Ryu. Another fresh mining base taken out from Ryu. And look at that army or that income advantage. It is so heavily favoring Pacomike.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at that Western Union economy tracker, and Ryu, he is just plummeting to the ground. Pacomike, like, he's just pulling Ryu apart. Ryu, he just doesn't have a strong. He's just not confident with his army, and I don't blame him. He just can't engage.
He really cannot, because then that happens.
Jesus.
So, another dead carrier coming down.
Yeah, one dead carrier, but you know, and for the cost of like half the health of every single corruptor, you know, like, Jesus Christ.
Well, 5 corruptors are starting to come out. So Ryu really going to be reliant on his, on his spellcaster. But will it work out? We've seen how good the feedbacks have been, and honestly, Vipers, just squishy units. They get out of position for a second, you know they're gonna get targeted down.
Yeah, exactly. And like, Ryu, he's just broke. Like, he has no bank. Look at Pacomike. Like, he can lose a couple of units. He can afford to lose a couple of units. He can just rebuild them, and then chrono them out as soon as possible. His bases have been left alone because the lurker den was taken out earlier. Like, Ryu hasn't had the opportunity to really counterattack with any lurkers because these are the only ones he has. Yeah, he's just really struggling. Again, his main army is still solid enough where Pacomike just can't A-move across and win. But like, over time, Ryu, he's just losing a little bit more and more.
Exactly. Pacomike has the advantage, but it is not an advantage. He can really afford to throw away. Not for sure those Templars were, this High Templar were gone. Or...
Yeah. It's okay, the mama ship is there. And oh my god, the drones! They've been pulled!
Yeah, Pacomike, he's had enough of this. He wants as big of an army as possible, so he can move across the map. Decent storms. Mothership is caught in the middle of it, and it does get yoinked once again. Gonna be taken completely out. And without that cloak, Pacomike really cannot engage into that army.
Yeah, he really cannot. So he's going to be rebuilding that as soon as possible. Meanwhile, we do have a bit of Zealot run by, another bit of a probe worker run by, and the probes are going to be able to get the queen.
Well, Pacomike, he is the player who probed so hard. Or grown so hard, rather. A fresh base gets taken out once more. But has Pacomike overextended? No, he has not. Oh, but he's not moving! He's not moving light! Ryu is gonna go in! Okay, doesn't quite want to jump on top of that army because he does not want to tangle with storms too much. But the Brute Lords were able to take out one Templar can't take out another Ryu. Slowly turning this around. But the storms, they're just so scary light.
Yeah, but like because of the lack of mothership, it was actually 2 High Templar that went down to the Brood Lords. 2 carriers were yoinked as well. So Ryu, he's trading as best he can, but as he's doing this, like he's losing things across the map. Slowly but surely, Pacomike is rebuilding what his losses, and he's getting a mothership as well. So Ryu, he just can't keep up with the economy, but he's trying. Oh god, is he trying?
He is. Another couple of good yoinks. Ryu really just 110% focusing on the micro. That is where all of his concentration is going down, because that is his only shot at the moment. He has an army that can take out Ryu's Pacomike's army, but he's got to be so careful about it, and his internet has to not drop.
Exactly, and you know what, like props to Pacomike, he's playing this out so well despite the constant lag, despite the constant drops of his Mexican internet, Mexicano internet if you will. It's trying its best to keep Pacomike down, but Pacomike, he's just powering through.
He very much is. Mothership out once again. And now things are really starting to turn around again for the pendulum. That said, both of these armies fairly slow, fairly immobile. Ryu trying to back away, but at least a good chunk of these units should be taken out. The Corruptors are focusing at Mothership, but is it too late? Storm goes down. Corruptors completely dodging it. And where are the rest of the Templar? I don't see them, Light.
Oh,
and the Corruptors, they are absolute MVP of the air battle right now.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like every single High Templar went down, so there were no more storms, but it looks like there just wasn't enough. It looked like Ryu could have maybe turned the battle, but the reinforcements, the warp in of the Stalkers, there's just so much here from Pacomike, and even if all the carriers go down.
Yeah, the carriers are starting to go down, and Pacomike losing a lot of army supply. Finally, he is below. Or finally, Ryu takes the lead in terms of army supply somehow. But Pacomike, as we were saying, just has so much income that he's just sending out run-bys left and right. He does not even care.
Yeah, and we were speaking about it a long time ago now. You know, Ryu, after you win the battle in the sky, what's the follow-up? Because he only had Corruptors. Every single Broodlord was sniped, so he just couldn't keep pushing. Like, he couldn't do anything with this with the air army. And sure, he's ahead in army supply, but so much of that is dead in Corruptors.
It very much is. He can't even afford to switch to Broodlords now. He just has no money to do that. He is not mining much gas at all.
He has 1 gas. He's okay. He has 2 gases that have, you know, a couple of resources remaining. He's trying to retake the bottom left. He's down to 3 hatcheries because as that entire fight was happening, he lost his main base, he lost his natural, he lost his infestation pit, he lost his hive. Everything went down. And sure, again, like he fights so well, but he just doesn't have the money. And Pacomike, like he's got the ground army. The Corruptors, they do nothing.
No, they do not. In fact, they're just going to get completely stormed down. A lot of them are badly in the red. And another decent engagement from Ryu, you know, considering what he had, but losing the base again. Spend, what was that, like 60% of his bank just to remake that hatchery?
We need a counter. How many times has Ryu lost his bottom left base? Like, at least 7. It's been I feel like every single time we pan the camera over to the bottom left, it's just the hatchery dying. Yeah.
Alright, well, the second last mining base from Ryu is gonna fall. So little income from both players now, as Pacomike is just about mined out his own bases. But he is getting a bit of a desperate base over to that one, yeah.
The center, the bottom,
yeah.
The bottom center question mark. Yeah, he is, you know, taking a pretty ambitious base, but again, it looks like Ryu doesn't have too much. But you know what? He had just enough resources to make 1 lurker, and that 1 lurker is holding the line right now. Oh, 2 lurkers.
It really is. Ooh. Ryu just doesn't have any gas. He's getting remax on Lings, I guess.
What is happening right now? Like,
look, we're just waiting for one of these players to die, really is the thing. One of these players to overextend or whatnot. Lurker gets taken out thanks to the detection. A couple of yoinks on these zealots. You gotta do what you gotta do. May as well use up the energy. It's free energy. Another lurker here, and a couple more lurkers just for defense. But things are not looking too optimistic right now for our red Zerg player.
Yeah, like there's just so much money for Pacomike. This entire time Pacomike has been banking up these carriers. I feel like as soon as he pushes with these carriers, he wins. It's possible that, like, because he doesn't use all army, he may have forgotten that these carriers are a part of his army, and he's just utilizing the gateway units.
Yeah, that or he's like, oh, there's still corruptors in the air.
God damn it, Pacomike.
Without a mothership.
I feel like this is part of the Paco vid. Like, it's very possible that he forgot. Like, oh, they moved. He knows.
They're repositioned. They're just getting fit, getting ready. They're resting right now. They're getting their wheels, their tires changed.
All right, here we go. Pacomike, he has realized that he has 6 carriers and 3 High Templar with his army, finally rejoining with the Gateway army. And once everything comes together, does Ryu really have enough here to hold?
Well, just looking at the army supply, it looks like Ryu has a decent amount, but that is very deceptive. Most of that are in the Corruptors, and they're not going to do too much, especially not against Stalkers. Lurkers might be able to help against the Zealots, but other than that, I have plenty of doubts, plenty of storms Pacomike has available to him. I have as many doubts as Pacomike has storms, which is about 4 or 5.
Pacomike is just not confident. He looks at that like position, he's like, yo, he's got the high ground, he's got queens, he's got 2 lurkers. That's too much. That's crazy. I'm not gonna push into that.
Someone needs to like throw him off the deep end. You can realize actually this pool isn't that is kind of shallower than I expected.
Yeah, it's like Pacomike, mate, you can do this. You can do this. But
you can do it.
Can he though? We'll see. He's going in. He's finally. Oh no, he's not.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's hard to really blame Pacomike so much because, you know, Ryu, he is a master when it comes to the actual engagements. But now that Vipers are out of energy, there's really not much I can see him doing. Still plenty of storms, and they do a good job of zoning. Takes out a base, which, I mean, didn't have a lot of resources, but it did have some production. Did have a decent amount of larvae.
Yeah, and it looks like, again, the main army of Ryu is still quite strong, able to snipe 1, snipe 2 carriers, 3 carriers. Oh my god.
You know what's funny? Like, Ryu now has the income advantage.
He does. He has the income advantage, and you know what? He blinks forward into Lurker, so he loses a bunch of army. And even though Ryu has been pushed to literally this one corner of the map, like this is literally all he has. Like he's winning the fights. And as all that was happening, there was a big Ling run by because Pacomike was trying to long distance mine, and like so many probes went down in the process. Like Ryu, if he's able to kill, like if he's able to kill these High Templar, these 3 High Templar, and the 1 remaining carrier, he could bring this back.
He absolutely could. Not a lot of energy left on those Templar, but there's also no easy way for Ryu to really get to them. He could try to yoink them, but Pacomike, he is absolutely on top of his feet backs.
Yeah. It's a hard call to make, right? Like, if he gets too close, that he's gonna get feedbacks. Even if he does join a High Templar, that just makes the storms that much easier to land as well. Like, you do have a split second to utilize them. We'll see, like, again, Ryu, he's stuck down to this. Oh, he yoinks!
Carriers have been taken out!
No more carriers, you know what that means?
It is ground army versus ground army, where Ryu is not favored.
You know what this means? It means Ryu needs to get all these corruptors and just go across and, like, caustic spray on things, because they're so useless right now. Oh, and other than the Observer, he could snipe the Observer and then the Lurkers kill everything.
And that is definitely the best. That is definitely a dream scenario coming out right now for Ryu, if he's able to posture around. Blinding Clouds is still kind of useful, I guess. Well, thinking about the Vipers, not the Corruptors.
Yeah, Blinding Clouds would be good to help deal with the Stalkers. There are so many Zealots now. Oh my god.
Overseer just gets taken out for free. And we have just about reached that milestone light where the game thinks it's going to go on for a while longer, so it's going to put that hour bar on the left.
Yeah, he just yoinked a Zealot.
He did just yoink a Zealot, but you know what? That Zealot was going to be what completely changed the tides. With that character's passing, the Weave of Fate or something along those lines. Whatever they say in Morrowind.
Oh, he's slow. Just Pacomike slow distance mining.
He's long distance mining.
Yo, the link counterattack and
another link counterattack right into the lurker.
Oh my god, this is huge. Like, the economy of Pacomike is in shambles. So is Ryu's, to be fair, and it looks like, oh my god, the value right now, these stalkers.
Absolutely, the stalkers have so much value. Pacomike has no gas. Ryu has a bit of gas, and he's continuing to mine. Did Ryu just turn this around? It all comes down to the storms and the lurkers. There's no detection here. There's no detection here.
Wait, hold on. What just happened? Okay, another yoink. Where is the detection? Okay, the detection is all the way in the back. I was a little bit concerned. I was like, what is happening right now? Okay, so he does have it available to him. I like that he's keeping it back. He even has an oracle for those revelations.
Yeah, nice little well, not a permanent observer, but definitely a very risk-free observation.
Yeah, and you know what, these things, yeah, like, Ryu needs to find where the long distance mining is happening. Like, he has foregone the upper bases, but he is mining through the center of the map, and with this economy, like, Pacomike is able to produce more and more zealots.
Well, Ryu has sent, nice little yoinks. Ryu has sent a Ling by into the space, but they will be taken care of. It's a lot of zealots. It's literally the only unit Pacomike can make right now.
Part of me feels like there are enough zealots to maybe overwhelm the lurkers, as long as Pacomike has vision. Maybe? It's hard to say. Like,
yeah, but not in this particular choke point. Not at the wooden bridges. This is exactly where Ryu wants to fight.
Yeah.
Oh, the High Templar looked a little exposed, but the spine crawl is just not big enough. Observer taken out.
The detection is out, but you know what? There's another one, so it's okay.
There's another one. This is very precious for Pacomike, though. He only has 2 more observers. He cannot make any more. Observers cause gas. Wait, observers cause gas. Yeah, observers cause gas.
They do.
Pacomike has got 1 more observer.
Yeah.
It's 25 gas per observer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is 25 gas, and we do still have 2 observers. We still have that oracle for the revelations as well. So, like, there is still detection for Pacomike. He's warping in more and more zealots. Oh
more than anything else, Pacomike really needs to keep that oracle alive. Hive's being remade for Ryu.
What for? For more vipers? Question mark? He doesn't need vipers right now. Oh my god.
What is going on? A lot of yoinks. Well, you say that, but look at all the yoinks.
True. Look at all them yoinks. More than anything, he needs queens to transfuse to keep these buildings alive so he doesn't kill himself. Meanwhile, what Pacomike really needs to do is take these gases and long distance mine gas, because that's killing him. The fact that he can only make zealots.
Oh, the gases are out.
Are they out? Are they out everywhere?
Yeah, run out.
0, 0.
It's the only one who has gas mining. 0, 0.
0. Oh, is there actually?
I think there's a little bit there, but we can't click on that.
I think this is the only gas. I think this is the only gas.
Yeah. So do I. We may just go into a scenario where every single is taken. He is going in with a massive flank, and look at all these stores on the Blinding Cloud Zooland. Stalker's just about taken out. A lot of zealots being taken out right now. Like, what is even happening? Ryu! So patient. He was so patient.
Oh my god, I don't know if you saw, but as soon as that happened, immediately all the observers got taken out and the revelation was used, but there were 3 lurkers over to the left-hand side that were untouched. They were completely hidden and they were killing everything.
Literally everything. The storm was pretty good, but the blinding clouds were even better. That was the game. That was the game and a half, and we are not done with the series yet.
We are not done. How did it slip away from Pacomike? Like, yeah, I was questioning, like, where's the gas? It's like there was no gas. There was 0 gas out on the map. Like, he literally couldn't make anything other than zealots.
He literally couldn't make anything else other than zealots. Absolutely. That was definitely the game changer, and part of me thinks that Ryu knew this. Ryu knew that, okay, he can only make zealots right now. I am just gonna get what counter zealots, which are these lurkers, and just really put like 100 billion% into taking out the detection, making sure that my lurkers are revealed, and shredding through the Gateway army. How did that go? From phoenixes to carriers to mothership to just
I
pure
just-
gateway at the end.
I just love I just love how Ryu, he just defended on one base that for like 10 minutes. For like 20 minutes he defended on one base. And like he was playing into the fact that Pacomike was so what's the word? Not uneasy. He just wasn't patient at all. He was so antsy. Like if Pacomike really wanted to, he could just contain his opponent. He could not go in and just max out on zealots, like, and just keep, like, sure, it's a longer game, but you can go for something like that. But he just really he was really getting impatient. That's the word. And wow, he just kept losing units, right? Like every now and then he would lose like stalkers here and there. He would lose zealots. Like
that's the thing that really impresses me about Ryu. He was just so good at taking these engagements. Even when he was down in army supply, there's a couple of yoinks here and there, take out the key units, and then Pacomike had to back away. Ryu 100% played into the fact that Pacomike, as you said, just a little antsy, just in the mid game and towards the late game there, just really unwilling to push into Ryu unless he was 200% sure that he could take out the fight. So just take out 1 or 2 units here and there.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Like we saw over the course of half an hour, we saw the carrier count go from like 4 or 5 to 0. Like, and he like slowly, yes, like slowly over, and like that would have been a game changer, because if he kept his carriers alive, like interceptors are just minerals. Like he could have been like chipping away units with interceptors instead of with zealots. Like that was like such a big play, like prioritizing like killing and wiping out that carrier count.
Ryu, he's a winter soldier. He knows what to target. He knows what to prioritize. And now he's on match point on Lucas y Sombras.
Like Luces. This isn't Luca the supplier, right? This isn't. Oh God.
All right. Sombra, that means shadow. I remember some things from Overwatch.
There you go. And before we start, I have to quickly set up the countries, the flags. There we go. And Ryu asking for a bit of a break. I don't blame him.
He's time to go to the bathroom again.
Jeez, go for it, mates. We're in the lobby. And bearing in mind, everyone, this is the grand finals. This is a best of 5. And you know what? That was only game 3. Ryu, he's up 2-1. He only needs 1 more to win the entire thing. Pacomike, he needs 1 more to make it all the way to the ace match. And oh my god, shout out to Darkness in the chat. Darkness, of course, he is, or you know, in his time, in his era, earlier this year, he was himself the best Protoss player in Latin America. But, you know, he does have university as well to prioritize. You know, he has other things going on. He can't commit 100% to StarCraft, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because, you know, we're completely unbiased here, and we are massive Darkness fans on this channel. He has so much potential, but you know what? Pacomike, he is holding that Latin American Protoss flag for him. He's trying to do it for El Prisma, for all the Protosses in Latin America, in Chile, Dastan, Darkness, Mimeron, Nano, everyone. He is here going up against Ryu, and can he do it? Can Pacomike fight against his lag, fight against the Paco vid, and go all the way to the ace match? That is the question as we are loading into game number 4. It is going to be, as Yaku said, Lucas y Sombras, Luces y Sombras, Light Shade. This is it.
That's a clue for the lore that I stopped keeping up with.
That's it.
That's it, everybody interested in the Overwatch lore. Keep that in mind as we go into what is potentially the final map of the tournament. We have here Lucas y Sombras, EE of course standing for El Enrique, as over here in the bottom right hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right hand corner, the Red Zug player, the man who is so patient, so patient. And you know why? It's because he was a patient recently. He was in the hospital recently. He was recovering from that Rona. He is coming down from Peru, but also from El Italiano. we have El Condor Pasa himself, currently teamless. It's Ryu.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Luces y Sombras LE, Lightshade LE. He is the Mexican Protoss player. He is doing this for all the Protosses in Latino America. Dastan is in the chat. Darkness is in the chat. Mimeron was here earlier. Nano, everyone. Destroyer TT. It has all come down to Pacomike. Can he do it? He took down Jim Rising earlier. Can he take down his current Zerg opponent? He is Pacomike.
Alright, and Lightshade, it's a much wider map, Light. It's got a lot of open spaces where I wouldn't really call it no man's land, but I mean there's just so much space in the middle where there's no mining that's going to take place. But it's also choke points. It is a bit of a no man's land.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, Zerg players, they want to engage the army out here in the center of the map where it's pretty open. There are a couple of choke points over to the edge. There's a lot of rocks that can be taken down, but I'm sure that here on Nightshade, we're gonna have a very different game. Romanticide. Yeah, we don't have
requested it.
She did request the 12 pool. We're not getting it though. Ryu, he's not that kind of player. He is pachat. He is patient, oh so patient, and he's opening up quite macro.
Indeed, he is. So we are going to be waiting a little while to see before any major action coming down, but Pacomike can help us ease that along as the Twilight Council is going to be finishing up here fairly soon.
That it
With
is
only one gate though.
Yeah, only one gate so far. We've seen this before. The previous time he did this, he did go straight into a Dark Shrine. Meanwhile, we do have these two Lings being quite annoying. They were able to spot the Twilight Council.
Yeah, and when the Lings do get in and when they are able to get a good little scout, you can't quite, I mean, it would be ballsy, but you can't quite throw down the Dark Shrine immediately. You are, at least at this stage of the game, you are relying quite a bit on the element of surprise. So instead, Pacomike throws on Robo facility, gets a couple of, well, I say a couple, I mean one more gateway. There we go, more gateways being thrown down, who goes into the Glaive Adepts. Mabels is saying, "Dame one min grizzly."
Yes, just like that. That's exactly how she sounds. As you know, it sounds like there's a little bit of an intermission over there on the Spanish stream. But what's interesting is that, so Pacomike, he did throw down that Robo, and that was out of sight, out of mind for Ryu with his initial Lings. He did not confirm whether or not there was a Dark Shrine follow-up or a Robo. And what's important is that, oh my god, like Ryu, he doesn't have too many workers. He doesn't even have 40 drones, as he did go for a much faster lair, going for those roaches.
Well, Ryu, he is a patient player, but there are limits.
Exactly. So he is immediately working on that roach speed as well. So he himself was looking to be really aggressive with roaches. I'm really curious to see how this is going to compare, how this is going to contrast with Glaive Adepts.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see. Part of me will say that, okay, you get the roaches out, Glaive Adepts are gonna have to do a lot more. Like, Pacomike is gonna have to work a lot harder and target fire a lot more in order to really be able to utilize what? He just killed his own tumor.
Yeah, a bit of mispositioning there with the tumor, because this is what Ryu wants to do. He's waiting for the glaives, for the shade, and then he's gonna wall off with his drone.
You were telling me about this at the start of the series live, but he's not gonna go up. There's the wall. Nicely done. Oh.
Hey, he's the only player I see who does this consistently against Glaive Adepts. It's beautiful. Like, it's something you see like in PvP, right? When the shade is trying to go up into the main base. Like, Ryu, he's on top of the wall.
Well, he's building the wall. He's got to be on it as well, you would imagine. Can't quite commit to that shade. Doesn't want to face full of roaches on top of these depths. Aren't quite enough of them to start really, you know, picking off the roaches one by one. Another block here. Ooh. I am loving this coming out from from Ryu, but just not enough time there for the health of that wall to come up.
Exactly, and now things are starting to snowball a little bit. To be fair, there were already roaches in the main base, and they are going to be dealing with all these adepts. Every single adept is going to be going down. And what's scary is that once Pacomike gets cleaned up, then Ryu, he has so many roaches. He has already speed as well, and he can just go for the counterattack.
Exactly, twice the army supply at the moment. Just win deal with these last couple of adepts here. And then I really think he's going to go for it. Commits to the shade!
Maybe not the best move. He does commit to the shade. Every single adept goes down, and now Ryu, he may be down in workers, but he is up in that army supply. He's going to be going for the counterattack.
Exactly. A lot of workers did go down, but yeah, Ryu still has a very, very good army. As he makes his way. The Warp Prism is still around on the sort of edges of Ryu's base, so that's something that Pacomike can try to utilize to maybe force Pacomike to come back, or to really...
Oh god.
Ryu back. Good split. Really good split.
Wow, only one roach goes down to that Nova, and now that's it. The Disruptor is out of commission for this engagement, forces a cancel at the third base, and now Ryu, he wants that Immortal.
He does want an Immortal, pops that Guardian Shell, and then backs away. Gonna be waiting for round 2. Knows that he can't quite fight in that location, though, as more and more Disruptors come out. Warp Prism's feat has finished up. Yeah, you thinking what I'm thinking, Light?
Yo, I'm thinking some Disruptor drops, but you know what? Right now, Pacomike, he needs the Disruptors at home defensively. He can't really afford to go across the map. I say that, but he's going for it.
He is absolutely going for it. He realizes that the amount of roaches have started to go down significantly. Nice last minute splits coming out here, but not as good as they were before.
Yeah.
A couple more roaches being taken out, and now Pacomike evening up that army supply and still ahead slightly.
Yeah, I think what's important is that, you know what, Ryu, he did split, he did lose a couple more workers, a couple more units, but he was able to scout, he was able to spot the Disruptors, and Disruptors go out. Oh, Jesus.
That is such a choke point. And as we see, 8 drones already going down for that.
Yeah, the Disruptor defense just wasn't... It just wasn't on point for Ryu. It wasn't just those 8 drones, but also a big chunk of roaches went down as well. And it looks like this is what Ryu is known for. And did Pacomike spot it? I don't think he did. We do have a couple of Dropper Lords going across the map.
Yeah, and they are trying to go there, but Pacomike looking to intercept with these Stalkers. Pacomike is absolutely taking control of this game.
Wow.
Making it his.
Is this it? Is Pacomike going to do it? Is he going to be able to bring this game back, bring this series back, and go all the way to the ace match? So far, it looks like it. He's been able to trade so well. The Roach counterattack, sure, it was able to deny the third base, but it wasn't a kill. And for the most part, Pacomike has been able to keep Ryu on the back foot.
That he has. One more unit starting to go down. But that's all my contribution.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Ryu, he has Roach Ravager, he's already got the Hive, that was what he was rushing for. He was rushing for that Hive tech. He's got Vipers on the way to help Yoink, but, I mean, there's just not enough Roach Ravager. He's barely got anything.
Yeah, that he really does not. Trying to get a bit of a concave, but the force fields doing such a good job of splitting this army. And now, what does Ryu have in terms of his defense? He's behind in terms of the army count, and when you're going Roach Ravager, that is absolutely a nightmare scenario. Trying to get these Vipers up just so you can have some blinding clouds, but I have my doubts.
Oh my god, yeah. Meanwhile, oh, beautiful Yoink's able to stop that Purification Nova, but will it be enough? The Disruptors are not a part of the fight, but you know what? The Immortals are.
That they very much so are, but they're not going to be able to do too much against these these Ravagers here. Another quick warp in though, and this should be nail in Ryu's coffin, but I said that last game. GG is called. Pacomike evening up this series, sideways 2-2. We are getting our ace match.
We are getting it. we are going all the way to that ace match. We're tied up 2-2, and this is the only way this could have ended. We're going all the way to game 5.
We're going all the way to game 5 to the 12 pool. Let's go.
It's quite possible, and oh boy, this is amazing. If you're a fan of StarCraft, this is worst case scenario for Yaku. Everyone give your energy to Yaku, because Yaku, he woke up very early today. We have another broadcast later on. Mate, I hope you're able to squeeze in a nap there. You need to... Yeah. Need to rest up, man. Need to rest up. Oh god.
All I need is their iced coffee. Get it today at your local Wool Wharfs.
Yeah, speaking of your local Woolworths, you know, if you don't want to go down to Woolworths, !menu pog in the chat if you want to utilize that code, that image, that link that gets thrown down there to get a bit of a discount with that Dare order.
Don't we literally only have one? We literally only have one coupon code, don't we?
We do. We do only have one. And you know what? We are not sponsored by any of these people. We are not getting any money whatsoever. But you can use those commands anyway. It's a lot of fun. It's, yeah.
Figure it out. As we load into the final map of the, I want to say evening when it's morning, but I guess it's evening over in the Sacramento land. So it works out in the end. Here we are on Pills of Gold. LE. Holding up. Nothing else anymore. But they are golden. In the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Red Zug player. Come down from the land of Peru, but also the land of Italy. He is gonna be currently teamless. Rico El Condor Pasa himself. He was so patient that game after the last one, but now he's looking in a bit of trouble. Can he ace it out? We have Ryu.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the Mexican Protoss player, the blue Protoss player. He was looking to be, you know, taking the series earlier today. Like, he was looking so good in Romanticide, but it slipped through his fingers. It was looking so dire for him, but he was able to bring it back. We are here. We are in the ace match. Can he bring it home all the way for the land of Mexico? For Alpha X as well, it is Pacomike.
And this is for you, Destan. This is for you, Darkness. That's how Pacomike is really viewing this, and I'm kind of disappointed here. Like, we did not get to do intro español número 6.
We did not. The people in the chat, los que están en el chat, we have a community challenge that you can use your points, your channel points that you've been saving up to bring out a Spanish intro. And as this is the final game of the night, unfortunately, it looks like Yaku and we are not going to be doing it, but that challenge does persist to future broadcasts. So, you know, we could do it in the next one.
It's gonna happen in GPO, and
it could happen in GPO. God damn it! It never happens for the Latin American tournaments.
yeah.
I think we've had it twice in Demi C Weekly. Like, we've had it in GPO. We've had it once in Battle of the Americas, but not in Sentimiento.
I'm nodding along here. Did you and Milk do one on NA Apprentice Cup?
I think we did. God damn it. Feels bad, man. You know, one day. But looks like it will not be today. It will not be for this Sentimiento Latino. But that does not mean that we do not have an amazing game here before us, as Pacomike, he's going back to his roots. Going for that Stargate.
That he is. No proxies out this time. Just confident in his control with the Oracles. Should see if he stops at 2 and goes into the more standard Void Race, or if he wants to be a little more crazy, a little more on the stat side of things, and go for a third one.
We shall see. We'll keep an eye on the production tab. We'll keep an eye on this Stargate, whether or not more Oracles do come out. This is a little bit more old school, going for an Oracle first, not a Void Ray, and immediately Ryu, he goes in and he scouts.
Yeah, sees the Stargate, sees exactly what's coming his way. And with that, we should be seeing some Queens getting in position.
Yeah, we've got queens, we've got spores on the way. The first oracle is out. A second oracle, of course, you know, as you were saying, it does get spotted. So Ryu is aware that it's a double oracle opening, potentially a triple oracle, you know, depending on how long it takes for that overlord to be dealt with. And Pacomike is not able to do too much with these so far.
Yeah, really liking the predictions coming out here from Ryu. He knows exactly where Pacomike wants to send an oracle, and so just adjust accordingly. Phoenix gonna be coming out from Pacomike, not a Void Ray. So this should be the tell that Pacomike, he's really dedicated to the Sky Toss, but you know, not gonna be rushing the Fleet Beacon this game. This is gonna pick up Phoenixes for the time being. No, we're gonna get another Romanticide, aren't we?
I am so surprised. This is very old school. He's going for the Phoenix first, you know, looking to try and snipe that Overlord, but he misses it. The Overlord is still alive, which means Ryu could go in for a second scout, could go in and see the Twilight Council, the Forge, and the Robo.
Is there any reason to... Oh, one Oracle already taken out, and the other one on half health. And that is not... That's not what you want to happen. Again, Oracles, they have a lot of utility, and they scale really well as the game goes on. So I want to keep them alive as long as possible. I mean, we saw in the Romanticide game, Revelation was what really was keeping Pacomike alive in some instances. But as I was saying, is there any reason to go for a single Phoenix nowadays instead of the Void Ray?
The only reason would be like to utilize the CC to like you dive in, you CC a queen, and then you go in with like 2 oracles to kill more workers. But because one of the oracles died earlier, it's like, is there really a reason? You can be a little bit faster when it comes to catching up to overlords and sniping them out of the sky. But we see the overlord is still in the natural, and it's still everything. It's still literally everything.
Indeed, it did. Let's continue to take a look. Likes what it sees. It's very impressed. Ryu, meanwhile, going into his Hydra den, grabbing a Roach Warren, which I imagine is just in case, right? Just in case he needs some Ravagers for force fields, but actually gonna get the Galile as well.
Yeah, we've seen this before where it's like you want to work your way up to Hydra. So you get Roach Ravager first, and you get that Hydra den, you get that tech ready, so you can go straight into Infestation Pit, straight into Lurkers when you feel comfortable. Yeah, we'll see how Ryu eventually gets there, eventually gets to that end game composition.
Well, quick is how I imagine.
Oh boy, and speaking of like taking up quickly, Pacomike is doing the same. We already have Storm on the way, so for those High Templar, we already have Charge Lots on the way as well. Like he's getting a pretty beefy army, like in and of itself.
He definitely is. He's gonna continue to poke around here with the Oracle. It is so low light.
My God, it's got 3 health, 3 hit points.
I mean, it's regenerating shields, but yeah, it's gonna get taken out at some point.
Yeah, and that Phoenix just hasn't been paying for itself. Like, Ryu has just been able to get these scouts off the Overseer. It's in the main base once again, able to confirm all the tech. He sees the Templar Archive, so he's aware of the storm that's on the way because he sees it researching. He does spot... No, he has not spotted the 4th base quite yet, but again, I don't know if that's the biggest of deals, and... he's just macroing on up, you know, Lurker Den, it's on the way. I imagine Hive is going to be on the way soon as he throws down the Infestation Pit. Like, things are kind of slowing down here.
Yeah, I imagine we'll probably see a 5th base come out from Ryu soon, TM-ish, around that timing. But, yeah, just going to be waiting on. The Lurkers are starting to get morphed.
I don't like that. I don't know what Pacomike's doing, but he's out here in the center of the map with these exposed High Templar and Immortals. He does have a handful of charge lots, but what's scary is like he doesn't have a War Prism with his army. Like he has no way to reinforce or to like pick up high-tech units and save them. Like this is terrifying, and Ryu, he sees this.
He does. Pacomike is just about turning around. Okay. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
That could have been deadly. Lurkers are starting to go into the main base once more. It worked for Ryu once. It can definitely work again.
Paco sees it.
This time, exactly, Pacomike sees it. He's got the Observer on the way. And what really worked, and the reason why this really worked out previously was because there was just a lot of chaos going on that the lurkers were able to just really capitalize on that. This time, not so much. This is a very expensive drop. It takes 2 lurker volleys to kill probes.
That it does, and as you were saying, that's so expensive. 3 lurkers have already gone down for 4 probes. It's going to be 4 lurkers for 4 probes. That's nowhere near enough damage. And we were talking about how, like, typically you want to line it up with a big attack, so you kind of distract your opponent. But there was nothing else happening. Like, Ryu, he just lost 4 lurkers kind of for free.
Huh. Yeah, really relying a bit on the element of surprise there, and not working out for him.
Yeah, not at all.
Yes, Pacomike starts to posture around 4 immortals. That's very scary to deal with on a roach-based composition.
Yeah, definitely. Like, this army is terrifying. Like, Pacomike, he's got 6 immortals. He's got, what, 6 High Templar. He's got all these charge lots. Like, he has a pretty intense army right now. And Ryu, again, losing those 4 lurkers, it hurts so much. He has a couple more, which is nice. It looks like they will be morphed in time, just in time to make sure that Pacomike doesn't push too far into creep here.
Yeah, well, he will be trying. The lurkers are on the absolute wrong side of the bases right now. But they do manage to move in. As Pacomike makes his way onto creep, a couple of roach run-bys trying to see what they can get done.
Yeah, and what's scary is, you know, Pacomike has vision, and there's not a lot here to protect the lurkers. There's not a lot at all. There's 5 Hydras, that's it. And you know what? The Immortals are just pushing through.
Oh, the storm lands on every single one of these lurkers, forces them back. And there's nothing that can really snipe the detection right now for Ryu, that observer. Absolute MVP. Oh, but it gets taken out.
Ooh, it does get taken out, but you know what? At the same time, the hatchery goes down as well. Pacomike was able to deal the damage, able to escape, and what? How many lurkers have died this game? 11 lurkers have died.
So if you count the 4 from the drop, that's 7 lurkers gone down for not a whole lot for Pacomike.
Yeah, Pacomike, he got an observer. He didn't kill an immortal. He may have killed like a single High Templar. I think he killed an Archon, but like we see, Pacomike is maxed out. This is insane. Like, Ryu has just been so greedy this game. Like, he, like, teching up greedy, like, when it comes to teching up, when it comes to throwing away expensive units, like, he just can't keep up.
Yeah, supply don't lie. And Pacomike is absolutely in the lead. Ryu really trailing, but Pacomike is giving Ryu a little bit of time. And now that, you know, Ryu is up to 82 workers, he should really be focusing now on his army.
Yeah, and of course we should say that when it comes to defense, like Ryu, he's done a lot with a little on Romanticide, right? Like,
yeah. On
he...
Romanticide, in ZVZs, on ZvPs.
Yeah. Like, again, like this army from... The composition is good from Ryu. Like, he's got lurkers, he's got Vipers, he's got Hydras. He just needs more supply. That's kind of what's holding him back right now, and we'll see if Pacomike gives him enough time. We'll see if Ryu is able to hold strong here. Again, these lurkers are so bunched up, they're so vulnerable to storms.
Yeah, they really need to split and some way or another. But decent yoink, taking out an Archon. That's a pretty expensive loss. Meanwhile, another run by coming in from the west. Static defense apparently going to be enough to chase that away.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, because of the stack defense and the lurkers, like the zealots just can't get to them. So like they just trade so inefficiently. So Ryu, he's able to defend quite well, able to yoink another Archon, takes it out. Like he's, oh god, but he has to be so careful not to be caught out, not to get surrounded.
Yeah, not to get completely stormed. As again, the lurkers, he has a tendency to bunch up his lurkers. The Templar are exposed, like the Templar are so exposed, they do not get taken out. But a lot of the surrounding units do get taken out. This base is looking pretty vulnerable, and it will go down. Pacomike going to be content with that advantage. You're gonna be back in.
He's diving on top of the High Templar. He's going for it.
Dive on the Templar. He's trying to go on top of them, and he does get them all. The lurkers didn't even die.
The lurkers didn't, maybe one lurker died. That's it. Every single High Templar has gone down, and a nice split Ryu. He was able to defend on both fronts. Sure, he lost the hatchery, but he was able to trade efficiently, buy enough time, and he's catching up in the supply.
He was so ballsy with that move.
But now he's even getting Brute Lords.
Now he's even getting Brute Lords.
What?
This is pills to go. This is Romanticide. but sped up times 4.
Exactly, it's just sped up. We have all this stack defense being thrown down. We have double Spire on the way for those upgrades. Meanwhile, Pacomike, after losing all those High Templar, we've got some more Stargates. We've got that Sky Toss on the way.
We are getting some deja vu.
Yeah, we're getting some
by.
a massive run by. The thing is, like, Ryu, he keeps losing bases. Like, he just lost his hatchery to the left-hand side. He lost his previous hatchery here. He's only on 3 bases. And, oh, he's trying to attack here. Ooh.
Good feedbacks. But at least 2 carriers will be yoinked and taken out.
Yeah, honestly, Ryu, he traded well here. Like, his fights are good. He just can't hold on to his bases. Another run by is going down. There is detection here, so these lurkers could potentially go down.
But they will not. Just not enough. There's not enough support units for these zealots to really take out the lurkers. Infestation Pit will go down. But by this point, I feel that Ryu has already got the tech he needs from that Infestation Pit. He is fine with letting that go.
Yeah, definitely. Like, to be fair, the one thing that he does need, I believe, is he needs the Infestation Pit for Vipers. I could be wrong there. Maybe just with Hive he can get away with it. Yeah, there we go. So he's perfectly fine in terms of tech. He isn't required to rebuild that Infestation Pit. And you know what? Pacomike is going to be losing this Nexus.
He will lose Nexus. And I want to say that losing a Nexus hurts more for the Protoss player, but Pacomike's got a massive bank, and he has just so many bases that he is still leading in terms of the income slightly.
Yeah, definitely. And Ryu has to be careful not to spread himself too thin. The Broodlords are a little bit exposed. One is going to go down, potentially a second, and it does.
Yeah, Broodlords are very mobile units. Once they start trailing behind on, say, Corruptors or what have you, they really are in a lot of trouble. The Mothership is out, though, but that's a lot of potential yoinks, but that's a lot of potential feedbacks.
Oh, that it is. Again, I'm feeling a little bit scared for Ryu because Pacomike, he's feeling confident enough to push on in. The storms land as well.
The blinding clouds. Yeah, the storms do land and they're amazing. The blinding clouds do help out a lot. The storms land on every single one of these Hydra lists. And the Mothership is still in play. Pacomike lost a lot of units there, but so did Ryu.
Yeah, what's scary is that Ryu doesn't have any Vipers with this army. He's remaking 2 Vipers right now, but they're gonna have no energy. They are not here to help support the army. At the same time, there's only 2 High Templar and only 1 with enough energy for Storm. Not even, currently no energy for Storm.
And there's just not a lot of anti here coming down for Ryu. He is making do with what he has, though, really putting a hurt on this base.
Oh,
really
God.
making use of his protection too.
Yeah, I feel like it's just...
Gauge in.
Yeah, there's just so much Protoss here. I feel like the problem is that Ryu can't turn around because if he turns around, he loses his Broodlords. Like, he's forced to commit because they're so slow.
Exactly, but this Mothership is looking a little exposed. Just kidding, as there are a lot of carriers underneath that. Meanwhile, a couple of lurkers taking out 30 probes already. Pacomike starting to lose the war of attrition. Look at that income advantage coming up from you. Thank you, Western Union.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? All the Broodlords go down. As soon as that happens, Ryu evacuates. He's like, okay, I don't have to commit here anymore. I turn around, and it's fine because 30 probes went down, and this Nexus to the top left is going to be going down as well.
Yeah, at this point, Ryu, as long as he's able to defend against the coming wave, he should be looking pretty good. But we'll see. The lurkers aren't quite out yet, and that's a lot of zealots.
Yeah, that it is. And you know what? What he still doesn't have here, he needs the Vipers, he needs the Yoinks, he's trying to commit in, and he's focusing down the carriers.
Oh, Time Warp can absolutely make the difference right now, as the Corruptors are just so slow when it comes to the attack. Look at that light. They cannot quite commit, but Ryu, he forces his way in. Beautiful Parabomb as well. That adds so much support, but the Corruptor count is starting to thin out.
It's thinning out, but so is the carrier count because it looks like there are only 2 carriers left. It looks like every single carrier is going to be going down. 2 more come in to reinforce though, and the Mothership is still standing strong.
Wow, that was just such a miscalculation coming out from Ryu. He tried to go for it, but it did not work out for him. That said, he took out a lot of very expensive units there. Corruptors, that cost a little bit, but nowhere near as much as carriers, nowhere near as much as carriers with interceptors. And again, the income just absolutely favors Ryu.
Definitely, like, Ryu needs to calm down because he can't engage right now. He yoinks, but he doesn't have enough to follow up. He doesn't have enough DPS. Yeah,
trying to throw on some blinding clouds, trying to get a Parabomb or 2 to Mothership. It is so low, but it cannot go down just yet. A couple of storms are available right now to Pacomike.
Yeah, and it looks like Ryu... Yeah, he's going forward offensively, and it looks like he will be able to get the mothership, but at the cost of 2 Vipers.
That's quite a bit, but again, Ryu ahead in terms of the army count, still has income to spare. And Pacomike, I mean, as we saw, he is just completely unwilling to engage into his Zerg opponent without that mothership.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't blame him, right? Like, it gives you such a big advantage, and now Pacomike is forced back. To be fair, he does have a pretty good carrier count, but as time is going on, Ryu, he's getting more Hydras, he's getting more Corruptors, getting more Anti-Air. This is so difficult to call.
It very much is, which is why we should flip a coin.
We'll see. I mean, Pacomike, like, he did lose that base. Oh my god. Ryu's trying to expand to the top left. He's taking all the bases. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well,
oh, I love the water wire.
Yeah, it's actually doing quite a lot. Completely preventing mining happening over here. And it forces the army back. Where's the detection?
There is none. There, okay, there's 3, okay, there we go. The detection does finally roll on in, so the lurker will be dealt with, but again, some decent damage was done. The main army is looking to push into creep once again, but the yoinks...
Or no, the carriers are so exposed, and the yoinks are brilliant. Trying to get some high ground storm there, but Ryu just backs away, taking very, very little damage, and losing no units in that engagement. Another yoink goes down. The storm's trying to come in for zoning potential. And Pacomike has a lot of them, but he just about used all of them up. These Corruptors are so in the red, though.
Yeah, there we go. I love it. He recalls. I was about to say, as soon as the storms run out, you have to leave. You cannot stay as a Protoss player. So he forces a recall, goes all the way back home. And Pacomike, like, to be fair, he was able to finally deal with that lurker. So his economy isn't too bad, but it's still, like, what, half of that of Ryu?
That it is. About 70% of Ryu's supply right now. And again, very expensive coming up from Pacomike. He is losing bases, and he's not quite going to be able to afford many more losses.
Yeah, he's just missing so much, because at the moment he has 2 High Templar. He needs so much more for storms. He needs to replenish his carrier count that he's been losing. He hasn't had the time or had the money to rebuild that mothership. He just doesn't have the gas. Like, we've been here before, like, where like there's no gas on the map, and Pacomike, he's running out.
He is rapidly running out of his mineable gas. But Ryu, he has plenty of it, and he does not want to share. Again, Templar try to come in, and really good storms. If Pacomike has been doing one thing consistently good this game, it has been the storms, but they're just not enough.
Yeah, especially when you have none available to you, because every single High Templar goes down, they will force to turn into Archons, all the carriers go down, and this could be it. Ryu, like, after an incredibly long, drawn-out series, after that game on Romanticide, and even in this game, like, he was looking like to be on the ropes, on the edge, but he is just fighting back and just almost reset the carrier count.
Indeed, he has. The Templar will not have anywhere near enough energy for storms. Another carrier gets taken out. 14 drones go down, but that is the least of Ryu's concerns, as he is just absolutely miles ahead in terms of the army. What more can Pacomike really do from this position?
Exactly. With no storms, it's so difficult to deal with this. He only has 1 carrier, 0 interceptors left. It goes down, and everything on the ground as well.
GG is called. El Condor will be your Sacramento Latino 97 champion.
GG, well played. Ryu, he finally does it after an incredibly long series, after what a night of StarCraft. He was looking so close. Again, the entire series was so close, went all the way to the ace match, and he clutches it out in the end.
That's what we have come to expect from El Condor Pasa.
GG, El Condor has done it. He was first able to take out El Huevo, and then he was able to close it out here versus Pacomike in what a series.
What a series it ended up being. Ryu's pretty happy about that too. He's pretty satisfied, and he definitely should be coming back from his hiatus and having an absolute performance like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Rona just made him stronger.
Yeah, I think what's important to note is that he went through 2 players who qualified into DreamHack. The Zerglord, no, sorry, 3 players. The Zerglord, Eggs, and Pacomike. These are 3 players who were in the main events in the group stage of DreamHack Winter for Latin America. And he went through all of them and was our champion tonight.
This is really Ryu just saying, sit your ass down. I should have won, not Juan.
Oh my god. What a guy. GG, well played. He does it for the land of Italia. He does it for the land of Peru as well. He's done it for everyone, for all of us. The land.
He's done it for the Condors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What a guy.
What a guy indeed. And with that, that is going to be Sacramento Latino. Everyone's going to bed. Mabel's is going to bed.
Yeah, it was a longer one today. Thankfully, there was no GSL that we clashed with. Of course, GSL is usually running at this same time, at the same moment, but GSL, at least Code S, is done for the year, so there was none of that here. We could all focus on some beautiful Latin American StarCraft.
That we could. So it's the most beautiful caster by fan vote, Enki.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. El más hermoso de todo de Latinoamérica, Enki. He usually casts that, and of course, do not fret, you know, when it comes to GSL Code S, that is over for the year, but Super Tournament will be back in December.
It will. A nice little send-off. Little Christmas treat, if you will.
Yeah, a nice way to round off the year, you know?
Yeah. I miss Blizzard Cup.
Blizzard Cup?
Yeah, GSL Blizzard Cup, where they basically got, like, it was kind of like, it was before WCS was really a thing, but in the early days of StarCraft 2, you had 2 of these GSL Blizzard Cups, which was like a joint venture, and they basically got like the best players of the year to come down and just duke it out.
Yeah.
I mostly know that because that's where we had MMA versus Dong Rigu. Series I still go back and watch.
Yep. That is accurate. Back in the days of Wings, and again, thanks everyone for tuning in today. Thanks everyone for watching. What a series. We may not have had the biggest bracket, but we had an incredibly stacked bracket. So many good Latin American players.
I was rejoicing when I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, 60 players. This should be quick.
It should have been.
I know that the Latin American tournaments can really stack up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, only the best of the best here in Latino America. And yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Here on the screen, you can currently see our weekly schedule. We have just finished up with Sentimiento Latino, and in 3.5 hours, we will be back with GPO.
Wait, is this 3.5 hours?
Yep.
Right.
And Grand Platypus Open is our weekly Oceanic and Southeast Asian tournaments that we run. It's kind of like Sentimiento Latino, except for the Oceanic region, for the people in Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, New Zealand, all those good countries, and Yaku.
Yeah, not those bad countries like the rest of them.
Exactly, like
looking at you, Indonesia. No, wait, Indonesia's included.
Looking at you, Japan. And you know, Yaku, our resident Singaporean, he will be casting that tonight.
Yay!
You can just hear, you can feel the enthusiasm exuding from his voice.
It's gonna be fucking hype. Pez is gonna come in, he's gonna play Terran, Mighty Kiwi's gonna come back, but in the end, it's all gonna be about the one true cat god, Mike. I'm still waiting for Ender to play.
I'm still waiting as well.
He said he would.
Yeah.
So you sign up.
I mean, I'm sure at the moment he's just training hard for the DreamHack main event because he did qualify for it. Yeah.
He doesn't want to reveal anything, and he's really happy, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Ender. He's currently ranked the best in our region, especially because of his DreamHack run. So we are cheering for him. So the other players from the region will be playing in GPO tonight. Yaku and Quirky will be casting that over there. And speaking of Yaku, where can people find more of you?
Twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1. yeah, the upcoming weeks are going to be very Simon-filled as we are starting to get to that part of the classes. Twitter.com so basically I don't think I'm going to be streaming, and not often anyway. Did do a quick little stream yesterday just because I felt like it and so espresso. But anyway, twitter.com/@Empora Yakuzaku !Discord. You can find myself as well as the other members of CranKy in our Discord server. Other than that, buy my shirts. Where can we find you, Light?
Light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. You can follow me there. I'm probably going to be streaming this week, maybe, question mark. I'm also kind of busy with other things, you know, with CranKy Ducklings, with casting, with editing VODs and all that good stuff. But more importantly, as Yaku was saying, as you can see here on the schedule, you can find us here on the CranKy Ducklings. So hit that follow button if you want some more of our beautiful casting. If you want to tune into some VODs, because these are not at the best time for you, you can go and !YouTube in the chat. You can check out our YouTube channel where all of our VODs are posted. They are all there and available to you, split up by matchup, by series. So that's all there. If you can't wait, you can watch on Twitch as well. There are VODs all over the place.
Yeah. Up and down, all around.
Exactly.
Make your way downtown.
And with that, we are done for today. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for supporting. And we will catch you in 3.5 hours.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bella.